S&P fell 96. The Nasdaq tumbled 553 points or 2%. The price for a barrel of Brent crude jumped 7% to close at $101. Not only are hostilities intensifying with Iran, 2 Saudi oil tankers were attacked in the Red Sea. Closer to home, Google parent company Alphabet lost 6%, despite delivering a stronger profit and revenue than analysts expected. Investors were more focused on how much Alphabet will spend on artificial intelligence. Another pull on the market, Tesla, which lost 14% after reporting weaker profit for the latest quarter than what analysts expected. President Trump having governors and electricity companies join a pledge aimed at shielding U.S. consumers from higher utility bills because of data centers. Michelle Franzen, ABC News.
And we've got a bit of a recovery in the futures market this morning. Dow futures are plus 275. That's the latest news. Stick around for your traffic next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News. Got a crash in South Nashville this morning. It's I-440, the westbound lanes past I-24 exit 7. The crash takes out 2 left lanes. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Morning news on Super Talk 99.7 W10. Good morning to your friends. Hope you are doing well. And welcome on into a Friday. It is July 24th, I believe it is, and appreciate you being here. So we had an Allah Akbar incident, did we? A Religion of Peace incident in New York, apparently.
Exactly.
A guy runs around and starts stabbing a couple of Jewish men with a screwdriver.
One was an Asian man and one was a Jewish man.
So, you know, when you look at all of the anti-Israel rhetoric that is coming from Zoran Mamdani,
oh yeah,
is it really any shock that this is happening? So,
No.
A couple of things that are all over the socials this morning is that a couple of weeks before Hamas invaded Israel and carried out the executions of over 1,200 innocent men, women, and children, the future mayor of New York City was out there screaming about Israel and talking about, how Israel is the infidel and all of that kind of stuff. And so, that is all over the socials this morning. And of course, we also know that he has been calling for the arrest of Benjamin Netanyahu. There's another video of Zoran Mamdani as he was appearing at a mosque where apparently the imam called for the murder of non-Muslims.
Literally later that same day, too.
So, I mean, this is a situation where is anybody really surprised that this is happening in New York when you have the leader of New York with all of his anti-Israel rhetoric that is going on? And now you've got some guy screaming Allah Akbar and, stabbing a Jewish man and I guess an Asian man.
So you want to hear what Zoran Mamdani's
what does he have to say for himself? Because, I mean, I just want to make sure. This is not a stretch, right?
Oh, no.
I'm not jumping the shark. I mean, you've got the mayor of New York who is so incredibly anti-Jew and anti-Israel. And so it's not shocking to me that people are reacting. So what does Mamdani have to say for himself?
Okay, so the best part is at the end, but I have to read you the beginning because he frames it very nicely. I've been briefed on today's horrifying stabbings on the Upper West Side where an Asian man and a Jewish man were attacked. According to witness and victim statements, the perpetrator yelled Allah Akbar during both attacks. I am relieved that both victims are in stable condition. Sounds good so far, right? Mm-hmm. The NYPD responded immediately and arrested Raul Morales in connection with both assaults, and I'm grateful to the efforts of the officers. Here it goes. The NYPD's initial investigation suggests that mental health may have been a factor.
Oh.
They are also evaluating these stabbings as potential hate crimes.
They should.
And despicable.
I was going to say they should be hate crimes.
They should be.
I don't know why they're being called potential hate crimes.
So even Jessica Tisch, who is the chief of police in New York City, said while initially, the initial investigation said this guy had no history of mental health problems, we're still going to see if there are mental health problems before we go to any, that's their very first line of defense, mental health.
And that's what we call a self-hating Jew. Because Tisch is Jewish.
Yes.
So one of the things, this came up, I don't know, when was this? You got Mamdani now. He's been out there, and I've got some video. Mamdani's been out there calling for protests because there was a reporter that asked him, she was very upset, and apparently the Palestinian community in New York, they're upset because Mamdani has basically come out and said, I would like to arrest Benjamin Netanyahu. I guess he said that he can't arrest Benjamin Netanyahu because it's a federal thing.
Well, it's not just that. He won't explain. We aren't a part of what's called the Roman statute in the international court system. It's really just us and Israel. We're the only countries that don't really adhere to it.
Okay.
So no international court warrant is really valid in the U.S., especially by a head of state of another nation coming to visit on a diplomatic visit, no less, with the UN in September. So he promised when he ran for mayor that he would arrest him, that if he sets foot in New York, I will arrest Benjamin Netanyahu.
He did. He literally, I played the audio. He literally ran on that.
Yeah.
Yep.
And now he is being called on the carpet by a reporter. People are upset about the fact that you're not arresting Benjamin Netanyahu. This is what he said.
For the United Nations meeting. I think one of the bedrocks of our city is protest. It is something that has been a part of what makes our city so special.
So, in other words, I'm not going to do what I promised to do, so y'all can just go out and protest. That's what he's saying. And I don't know, the cynical side of me thinks, okay, so now you have this guy that runs around and starts stabbing people and screaming Allah Akbar. One of the people that he stabbed was a Jew. And so is that what you would call a sign of protest?
Oh, they haven't released the Asian gentleman's identity or anything, but the initial reporting from people that were in the area was that both men were visibly Jewish.
See, that's what I read.
Yeah.
That's what I read. Now,
I mean, visibly Jewish, I guess, means having a beard and some sideburns going on, which isn't... It's also not impossible to be an Asian Jew.
No, I guess not. Joan? Jones, like, leave me out of this. All right,
I
here's
was actually just watching a video that I need to send to you. It's another Nancy Pelosi video.
okay.
Sweet.
Here's more from Mamdani calling for protests.
That New Yorkers can express themselves, whether they are in support or in opposition, no matter on whatever topic. And I've always said that when we respect our Constitution, we also respect our First Amendment. And here in New York City, it'll always be a place where you can exercise that. And when it comes to the first question, I have made clear both that I believe that this is an arrest warrant that should be executed, and also that I would follow the laws that we had. And
So do you think that when he said originally that he was going to arrest Benjamin Netanyahu, do you believe that he really meant that and that he just didn't know about the law, or was he intentionally lying? What do you think?
I think he really meant it.
You think he
No,
really
I
meant
think
it?
he was-
And then
no.
it's like, oops, my bad. Turns out I can't arrest.
I think it's just all the bravado to appeal to the people that like that kind of talk.
Oh, and you can't gloss over the way he frames the whole protesting, whether you're in support or opposition, because he wants the people to be out in the street violently clashing with each other.
Right.
And having
with police.
controversy and with police,
Yeah.
taking up resources.
Mm-hmm.
He wants this trip to be as stressful for the Israeli government and the IDF and Mossad as possible.
President Trump came out and he said, under no circumstances will Benjamin Netanyahu be arrested. So it's going to be interesting. When is that whole meeting? When is Benjamin Netanyahu coming to New York in the United Nations?
I think September.
Is it September? Boy,
Usually it is.
That's going to be fun to watch. Isn't it going to be fun to watch?
If I type in when does Benjamin, one of the top results is Benjamin Netanyahu come to NYC.
Yep.
It'll be September of this year. So yeah, September 8th.
All right. So we'll be sure to watch that September 8th, and we'll see.
Oh,
That
the
whole week will be interesting.
world is going to be watching that.
Yeah.
You know what? Here's the deal. Mamdani is the leader of the Democrat Party. That has been clearly established. So the leader of the Democrat Party is calling for the arrest of Benjamin Netanyahu. And by the way, I'm just going to say it. There are a lot of Republicans that would say that Benjamin Netanyahu also needs to be arrested. I don't agree with that, but whatever. So there's going to be a lot of controversy, both sides of the aisle, when Netanyahu ends up coming to the city and the state of New York.
Where does he stay? I mean, they're going to stay in the city, right? So what hotel is going to put him up, and what hotel is going to provide enough security? I say he goes to Trump Towers.
Probably.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Trump will set him up.
Penthouse suite.
Yeah.
But before leaving this particular topic, did you see what Randy Fine had to say about all this? The Jewish congressman out of Florida?
The congressman out of Florida, no.
He straight up just called it like it is. He says, Mamdani is a Muslim terrorist.
Yeah, I don't know. Would you go that far?
Yeah.
Would you go that far? Calling him an actual terrorist? Is he calling for terrorism?
Well, you don't have to strap a bomb to your chest.
I know
the
that.
more we've come to learn about Islam and the way that it subverts a society before it takes it over, it destabilizes it first, which is what we're seeing in New York.
That is what we're seeing in New York. But isn't destabilization, isn't that part of the Democrat Party? Like I want you to think about this. And whether or not Mamdani is a terrorist, whatever. You know what? You go ahead and do it on a daily damn poll. But if you want to talk about destabilizing our country, that is not a Mamdani thing. That is a Democrat thing. That is a communist thing, because that is what they're doing. And that's what they've been doing since Joe Biden was elected, I'm air quoting, elected into office. Because how did he destabilize?
Election denier.
How did he destabilize our country? He destabilized our country by opening our borders and then lying about opening our borders. So that is, and then you want to talk about the soft on crime policies. We could talk about that in the Democrat cities. I could talk about all of those things. So, whether or not Mamdani's a terrorist, whatever. I mean, that's some rhetoric there going on. But I would say that if you want to really talk about which side is destabilizing our country, clearly that is the Democrats on many different ways. All right, it is 5:15. Joan's got the news coming up at 5. I'm sorry, Joan.
No, we need to do some traffic here.
It's time for traffic on
All right.
WTN.
You've got an accident on 40 westbound this morning. Actually, that looks like it's the south side area. It looks like police activity takes out 2 left lanes. Westbound 40 at Fessler's Lane. Also, I-440 westbound past exit 7. You've got a crash. 2 left lanes are blocked off there as well. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Supertalk 99.7 WTN.
Think of Joan. It is 5:18 on Supertalk 99.7. Sam said in my headphones, I'm getting all flustered and angry talking about the communists and the Marxists. I always do, actually. Yes, I do. Also, this day cannot get done quick enough. That's. I'm trying to
already. I mean,
I know it's only 5:18. Listen, I got big plans this weekend.
Really?
Yeah, I'm doing
Dangrias.
Dangrias and TV is basically what I'm doing this weekend.
All right.
I can respect it.
All right, so you know the whole thing about flock cameras. Chris Hand has been, and I love Chris, and this is not a criticism. He has been covering this exceptionally well, and he seems a little obsessed.
You mean a criticism?
Ha.
Will you remind me to write that down? But the question is, are they constitutional? So because nobody really seems to be answering that question. So I've got the guy that I like to turn to, Hans von Spakovsky. He's going to be joining us here at 6:35 on Nashville's Morning News. He is going to talk about whether or not flock cameras are constitutional. There is a lot of gray area here. And, can I be honest with you, Joan and Sam and folks listening? When I started my prep on this topic, I was like, flock cameras, don't really care all that much about the topic. I'm a law and order kind of guy. I'm all about, getting the criminals and safety on our streets. And if flock cameras will do that, well, then absolutely that's what we need to do. That was where I was. By the time I got done with my research, I was like, holy cow, these flock cameras. And the fact that, you don't need a warrant to access the information on these flock cameras, I can go on and on about this whole thing. So there's a lot of questions that I have about these flock cameras. I got some video and some audio. Tim Burchett is actually, Congressman Tim Burchett is talking about the flock cameras. He wants them banned.
Hey everybody, Tim Burchett. I've proposed legislation, here's the bill, to eliminate federal funding and federal agencies purchasing those flock cameras. I find it pretty disgusting. They're pretty draconian, and you can look that up if you want to know what that means.
Draconian means excessively harsh or severe. So he's saying that these cameras are, some would say, like China, mass surveillance. There is some differences, though, between flock cameras and what China does, and I'll get into those differences coming up. But, Tim Burchett, he wants these banned. He ultimately, at the very least, he does not want any federal funding going to the purchase of these flock cameras.
It's called the Protection Against Mass Surveillance Act, and it prohibits federal agencies from purchasing or pulling or contract with automated surveillance systems. These things violate our constitutional rights. I've always been for protecting constitutional freedoms. I think it's one of the most important responsibilities, one of the important things we do as congressmen, to do anything at all. We just tend to keep giving away your rights.
All right, so Congressman Burchett, that's what he wants to do. By the way, in case you don't know, I know that Matt's been talking about this. As I mentioned, Chris has been talking about this an awful lot. What are flock cameras? And just in case you don't know, automatic license plate readers on steroids, I would say. The name Flock is simply the name of the company that makes them. There's other companies as well. And basically what they do is they photograph the rear and or the front of passing vehicles. They don't catch the inside of the vehicle. So, they're not taking photographs of faces, only the car characteristics, make and model, color, type, unique features as well. And they record the time and location where the car has been seen. So essentially what it can do is if you've got all of these cameras all over the city and all over the state of Tennessee, well then basically they can tell where you go every single day, any hour, any minute, whatever. And so they could put together a big map of where you go on any given day. So, for example, if you, as Chris said yesterday, if I think this was during the taping of the podcast, every morning, 7 a.m., he goes to some place to get a monster drink or whatever. They'll know that. Or if you go to your bank, if you go to Starbucks like I do, if you go to wherever it is, they will know what you do every single day in the past, and ultimately then they can come up with patterns for what you'll do in the future. And so this does go beyond just, to me, protection of the Fourth Amendment, but then you talk about, okay, so the Supreme Court ruled way back in the 60s, and again, I think there is another decision in the 80s. We'll talk to Hans about this, where there is no real expectation of privacy if you're outside. That is true. The difference, though, is that with these cameras, it can be predictive as to where you go in the future and also looks back on where you've gone in the past. So this, I think, may go beyond the Fourth Amendment. The bottom line, though, is that this has not been tested at the Supreme Court.
Well, and where's the slippery slope from checking license plates to facial recognition? Because that's what it is in China. I don't know if anyone's ever watched
that's what
a
it is
train video of people getting on. It's reading every single person that comes through those doors.
And in China, like the flock cameras right now, they're only on roads and parking lots. In China, it's everywhere, including, as you said, train stations, parks, all open spaces as well. So
on sidewalks.
On sidewalks, yeah. As I said, they're everywhere. So, I mean, I got a lot more on this. I've run out of time now. Spent too much time on Mamdani. But, the bottom line is there are some very serious constitutional concerns with this. And there's valid argument. I know people hate when I do this. There's valid arguments, though, on both sides when you talk about these flock cameras. Because, okay, so don't you want to rescue the kidnapped child? Don't you want to find the wandering dementia-ridden old person? Don't you want to find the bank robbers? Don't you want to find the murderers? Don't you want to stop terrorist attacks before they begin? Yeah, I do. And these flock cameras can actually help with that. But what are the sacrifices that we're going to make as Americans? So this is more from Tim Burchett, real quick.
Americans should never choose between safety and liberty. We got to keep our country safe. But we keep sacrificing the freedoms that, of course, that define us. It violates the Fourth Amendment. I've consistently opposed these warrantless surveillances and policies, and they'll weaken our privacy rights like crazy. We've already seen incidents where cops have used these things to pursue ladies for dating purposes or stalking or whatever. It's happened a couple of times, but it's the reality of where we are as a country.
So, just real quick, I know I'm running late already, but talking about what Congressman Burchett is talking about, San Francisco police, did you see this? An audit found that there were 300 improper searches by outside agencies that accessed the data without the proper authorization. In Mountain View, California, they screwed up the settings and set it with a broader national lookup capability. That means that outside and federal authorities could access the data that was gathered locally. That freaked everybody out because it didn't match their intended local policies. Multiple examples of officers looking at people they know to track where they are and when. So if you're, a cop and you want to look up somebody a lady you're dating, your wife, whatever, you can do that. I read a story, I mentioned this, I think, during the podcast, where there was a guy who was just bizarrely looking up where his acquaintances were going after work. It's totally weird. Yeah.
Did you know that there's a group called DFlock? And they have a website that allows people to go and find out where these cameras are. Mm-hmm. Because, unless you look up, unless you know what to look for, how do you know you're not being filmed by a flock camera? You don't know.
Do you know what you can also do? So, Joan or ladies, because we know guys are creepers, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So if a guy finds you attractive, he can take a picture of your car and apparently load it into the flock system and find you in the
Track your
system
whereabouts?
and track you.
No.
Yeah. That is actually, from what I understand, I looked this up. I did a lot of research on this, and they can actually do that. So anyway.
Oh my gosh.
Yep. All right, running late. I apologize. And I just didn't even scratch the surface of what I have for flock cameras today. So I knew, Joan, even before you and I talked about this morning, just knowing you, I knew that you were anti-flock.
Oh, absolutely.
I know already that Sam is anti-flock. You know, I'm kind of like the more moderate guy. You know what I mean? So, I mean, I'm.
You're wishy-washy is what you're saying?
No, I'm not wishy-washy. I'm a big law and order guy.
Put them all around places like Nashville and Memphis, but leave the rural areas alone.
But the thing is, like, again, after I did all that research this morning, I was like, I definitely see where there's a lot of concern about this, especially when you have so many people that have access to this information, that can get access to the information. And there's, in a lot of places, it doesn't even seem like there's no safeguards.
Yeah.
And to protecting this information.
Don't you? For me, I feel like, you know how you felt when the COVID vaccine came out and they were, crushing it. You've got to go get it. You've got to go get it. It came out of nowhere. This like urgency for everyone to have a COVID shot, and then the boosters. That's the way I feel about flock. Like, it came out of nowhere, and there's nothing about this that I feel like we were informed about, where we can have a say about it. There's nothing.
Well,
so
it
makes me so sketch about this.
The next China virus, where they're trying to get us to wear masks that don't work.
Yes.
How do we know that they're not going to utilize this technology for facial recognition to see who is wearing masks and who isn't? And then the people who are not wearing masks, they're going to go to their homes and say, hey, look, the flock camera caught you not wearing a mask, and we're going to do whatever, give you a fine or, arrest you or whatever. So anyway, it is 5:29 on Super Talk. Ooh. We're going to skip the T's, going to go straight to spots on WTN.
Good morning. It's 5:33. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. Our forecast calls for cloudy skies today. It'll be 85. Now, the same thing for tomorrow, but Sunday it gets hotter with partly cloudy skies, much more humidity, and a high of 92. The board of directors for the Nashville Zoo rejecting a proposal from DC Blocks that would have changed their data center plans to quell the uproar. News 2's Kendall Ashman.
According to the zoo, the proposal would have let DC Blocks build a 69,000 square foot data center while eliminating the proposal for a bigger facility and returning some of the land to the zoo.
The board's rejection was unanimous. News 2 reports DC Blocks has already closed on the property, but Metro Nashville Mayor Freddie O'Connell still working on that eminent domain. In Memphis, the woman accused of shooting to death the man she found hiding under her child's bed in the middle of the night has posted bond. Kendra Scott's lawyer.
To expect anybody to be able to act in a cool, calm manner, premeditate any sort of action, is just unrealistic.
According to the affidavit, Scott told police she came home, saw the dude under my kid's bed, and I did what I had to do. And a Southwest Airlines flight attendant arrested by ICE agents while at work. Lorenzo Thompson is a Jamaican illegal alien who came to the U.S. on a 6-month work visa in 2021. He overstayed that visa, failed to depart. DHS says he is in ICE custody pending immigration proceedings. I guess he didn't have to show his ID when getting on a plane. That's the latest news. Traffic next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
Thank you, Joan. My friends at Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling, they are in the middle of their back-to-school drive for kids heading back to school. Now, if you give and you donate notebooks and pens and pencils and all that stuff, school supplies, they're going to give you $50 off of any service. That's right. Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. So if you drop those school supplies off at their shop in Lebanon or on the weekend of August 1st at the Mount Juliet Chamber of Commerce, again, you get $50 off of any service from Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. I think I'm having a stroke. I don't know. Do you know what's so funny? Number one, I'm not used to having spots in the 5 o'clock hour, and I'm still just waking up, so there's that aspect of it, too. But here's the deal. If you want to know about this back-to-school donation, go to busybeehvac.com. Shut up, Joan. While you're there, check out the great deals on plumbing, HVAC, and indoor air quality as well. The Beehive Club is always a great option for you for keeping your HVAC maintained over the long run. So you're actually saving money by keeping your AC unit running at peak efficiency for maximum comfort. Now, with Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling, you buy a membership this month, you get a free one to give to a friend. So here's the deal. You donate a notebook, a pen, pencils, any kind of school supply, you get $50 off of any service courtesy of Busy Bee. Find them online, busybeehvac.com. Call them 615-246-5009.
440 westbound, just past exit 7. That crash still takes out 2 left lanes. And there's a crash out at Percy Priest Lake this morning. It's on Hobson Pike on the Hobson Pike Bridge. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.540 Super Talk 99.7 WTN. You'll love this, Joan. So I apparently stroked out during the Busy Bee commercial. I don't know what the hell happened.
It was fun to watch.
Wasn't it? So the great thing is, so now I realize Sam reminded me this during the commercial that my reads are now, I don't know what they did, but now when I'm reading commercials, I'm still on camera. So you want to see Mandis, have a stroke while he's on the radio? Go look at me trying to read the Busy Bee spot. Can I tell you what it is? Number one, I'm not used to having reads in the 5, but I got a lot of them lately, which is great. But I got 15 things going on in my head at once. That's what it is. And so I need to actually focus, and I do apologize. But one guy said, "Hey Dan, if you before you stroke out, can you put in a good word for Sam? He'd make a great talk show host." So there you go. Anyway.
Also, when it was over, you began to disrobe in the studio. So I'm just wondering what's happening there.
Okay, so just so we're clear, before people start turning off the cameras, the only thing that I did is I took off my little sweater thing because it's hotter than Hades in here. I don't know if the air conditioning is broken again.
Oh, YouTube's AI system would have flagged it for nudity.
Okay, there's no nudity allowed on Super Talk TV. Just so we're clear.
Or it may have confused things, and you had been handling a firearm live on a stream.
Or I can tell you this: there will be no nudity of myself on Super Talk TV. I don't know what goes on, like during the Murphy show. Anything goes on that afternoon show. You just never know. All right, so it is time for 3888.
Jones World.
Hey, Dan, we know you never wanted to be on TV. Yeah, I know. It's still whatever. Anyway, Jones World. All right, so Joan, I love this first story. Go.
Oh, my gosh. This is great. So there's a reporter for Mike Lindell TV. I don't know if you knew that he has like his own news network, but he does. And this reporter is always approaching Nancy Pelosi.
Sure.
And Nancy Pelosi just loses her mind every time this girl talks to her.
Never wanted to be Nancy Pelosi so bad.
I know.
Okay, so there's a visual because she wears... I mean, that is a short skirt.
And she always
she is
wears...
getting sent home from private school.
That is like upper thigh.
Yeah. And she always wears inappropriately short dresses.
Well,
skirts.
I think, Joan, the argument could be made that they're not actually inappropriate. I think Sam would say they're absolutely appropriate.
I think the Air Force is missing one of its nukes.
Oh, my gosh.
Moving right along.
Jeez
Go ahead, Joan.
Almighty. Okay, so let's play this as this woman, I don't even know her name, approaches Nancy Pelosi.
All right, here we go.
Hi, Congresswoman Pelosi. Last time I asked you about January 6th, why you turned the National Guard away on January 6th, you told me to shut up and that I was repeating Republican talk.
To shut up again because you're speaking lies. And I don't have anything to do
You're
with
right
it.
here on record saying,
no,
I'll
shut up.
admit it.
No, I did not admit it. The president never would agree to send the National Guard. Don't waste your time or mine on you.
Why was your daughter filming you on January 6th?
Why don't you get away?
These are just questions the American people want answers to.
No, you know what? I don't even think you're a real journalist. You work for Mike the Pillow Man?
Oh, you work for My Pillow Man? Is that what she said?
Mike the Pillow Man.
Mike the Pillow Man.
Yeah.
Okay. You know, it's so funny, though. A lot of these, and I'll play the rest of it, but, a lot of these politicians, they just keep walking. They don't give the reporters anything. But Pelosi, it's like she just can't help herself.
I don't even think you're a real journalist. You work for Mike the Pillow Man?
Actually, I do, and we're very proud.
I don't consider that journalism. Mike the Pillow Man, that's not journalism. I don't have any reason to talk to you.
He'd love to give you a free
I want you to
pillow.
record this. I want people to know that you're not a real journalist. You work for Mike the Pillow Man, and all you do is spout untruths.
I don't know why I find this so funny, but Pelosi, she doesn't even know how to respond to any of this. And by the way, there is video out there. I played it many, many times, and I don't know, I'm sure everybody has seen it, where Pelosi actually said that she took responsibility for not having,
did.
for not having enough security at the Capitol building on January. She literally said it.
Her daughter was filming her.
For
Her
a
daughter was in the
documentary.
back of the car, right, filming her, saying those words. I mean, what you're going to say that you didn't say those words? Like, we all have ears, lady.
Get away from
You
me.
can insult me all you
Get
want,
away
but
from me.
Thank you, guys.
thank you, Congresswoman. We'll give you my pillow so you can have a nice sleep tonight, okay? Take care.
She's walking away.
Tell you what she should do. She needs to take him up on the free pillows, like 3 or 4 of them, and stuff them in Paul's car the next time he gets into an accident.
Oh,
Paul, Nancy Pelosi's husband.
husband, yeah.
Yeah. Also,
Next time he starts drinking, he's just out there in Napa Valley in wine country, and he starts running into cars, which is what he did.
yeah. Not the second. It's the second time he's been accused of driving drunk, I believe, here recently.
Mm-hmm.
But
I think he's got a long history of it, actually. Yeah.
Even funnier with this though is, you know what it reminds me of, and I mean this like with all love from the bottom of my heart. But when you have that one grandparent that's on like a certain diet, and you can't catch them, you catch them eating something they shouldn't.
Right.
And you're like, I saw you eating that. And they're like, no, you're lying. I didn't do. Like I have dealt with that situation. That's what it reminded me of. And that person used to be the Speaker of the House.
Okay. Yeah, the Nancy Pelosi. All right. So yeah, it's fun to watch Pelosi get sort of trolled.
Oh, without a doubt.
And her not being able to respond, I think, is just funny. And I don't know why she bothers to respond.
Yeah.
Like, again, most Congress people will just keep walking.
They don't say anything. Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Okay,
next.
so this next one is the Uber riders. It's 2 ladies in the back of a car. Now, this almost seems staged. It almost seems like this is a goof. But I think this really happened. There's 2 Uber riders in the back of the car. The driver is wearing a Trump hat. And listen to these ladies freak out about him wearing a hat.
All right, here we go.
You want to tip or not? Understand who this guy is that you're wearing? This guy, this disgusting pig that you're wearing?
Ladies,
Sir.
I suggest you take a breath and relax, because this is just an Uber ride, and I take offense to you telling me what to wear and what not to wear in my own house.
Sir, do you not care about
okay?
pets? We're paying. Do you want to tip? Do you want to tip? Do you want 5 stars? Because we'll leave you 0 stars if you can't accommodate my. No, just pull over because you are.
And look, we're in the middle of the road. You want me to pull over?
I don't understand why you can't just take the hat off. Like, I don't understand why. Like, it's really that hard for you to just take
I
the
support
hat
my
off.
president.
It's okay, Mom. It's okay. You're making her upset.
All right. I don't know.
That part seemed really sus, right?
This sounds like a goof.
Do you not care?
So for people listening on the radio, this older lady, she is putting her face in her hands and she's like crying.
And her daughter's waving at her to,
I
cool
don't
her
know.
off.
That seemed that. I thought it was legit up until that point.
Until that second.
Here we go.
That you're making my mother cry right now? Take that hat off now, or just pull over on your. Seriously, please pull over. See,
I'm not gonna pull.
Take your freaking hat off. Okay? I'm recording you. Seriously.
Now I'm gonna pull over to
Pull
call
over
the
up
cops.
here. Pull over.
That's called assault. You should not be touching
I don't care.
me.
We're getting out. Pull over. Getting out. Pull over. Pull
All
over.
right, can I at least pull over in the same spot?
Yes, sir. Jeez. Do you know who the pig is? The hat that you're wearing. Do you know who that guy is? Don't even wait.
You know what's so funny? It's like, on the one hand, it seems like a little scripted, but on the other hand, people act this way. Like
Yes,
people on
do.
the left, they do act this way.
Yeah.
So
Which
I
is
don't know.
why that makes it a little bit believable.
Right. All right. Here's
you know the
the
things he's done to this planet and ruined things. It's okay. You
Mom.
have
Okay,
any
ladies.
idea? It's okay. Let's get out of here. And I'm reporting you.
I hope you have a better day, because
There you go.
And at the end, the one lady takes his hat and pulls it down over his. I think she actually throws it out. I don't know. A lot of the people on the super text line and on the YouTube chat say this is fake.
They think it's fake.
Yeah.
Okay. And you know what? Again, they had me up until the mom
crying.
puts her face in the in her hands and starts crying.
And
So-
somebody said that they're not wearing any seatbelts. So that's kind of
Yeah.
like an Uber driver would make them wear their seatbelts.
I mean, I told this story about everybody's got a story of an Uber driver from hell. I think maybe they do. I've got one. Remember, I told you this story about the guy that picked me up in front of the radio station?
Yes.
And he
yes.
decided he wanted to go at me with politics.
Yeah.
And it was like, I'm going, I don't know, I was going to New York or Washington, D.C., whatever it was for something. And he's taking me to BNA, and he starts arguing with me about Donald Trump.
Yeah.
And he again picked me up right outside of the radio station. So I was just wondering, okay, does this guy like know who I am? Does he know that I'm a conservative and that I'm a Donald Trump supporter? Because he wanted to go at it. And it was sort of like, I said to him when he started in on me, because I could feel like he was trying to bait me.
Yeah.
And I said something to the effect of, I don't really want to talk about politics with an Uber driver. I'm just being honest, dude. So, hate Trump, that's your right, whatever. I just want to get to the airport. And that was basically what I said.
Did you leave him a review?
Do you know I didn't, and I should have?
You definitely should
You know what?
have.
I'm so dumb. I think I even gave him a tip. Because I wanted to be better. I wanted to be better. I wanted to be better than him. So I think I actually gave him a tip. I'm typically a pretty decent tipper.
And then he donated it to Act Blue.
Yeah.
You know what I should have done? I should
Give
have
him $1.
You know what I should have done? I should have wrote in the review, I was going to donate his tip to Donald Trump's next campaign. That's what I should have done. Anyway, so yeah, I don't know. People who are anti-Trump are so incredibly insane that would not surprise me if that was actually real. But you know what? Kudos to that Uber driver if it was an actor, because he actually did really good. Because I believed him. So anyway, all right, very good. What else? What do you got? We got about 2 minutes left.
All right, so then let's go to the one with Elon Musk.
Oh, this is great.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness gracious. Okay.
Unfortunately, see how long it is. I think it's toward the end that they have this exchange. But
No, that's the one you've sent is 32 seconds long.
Okay, that's not bad. This woman is interviewing Elon Musk, and it's just the two. It's like a one-on-one interview, maybe like a podcast. Here's what she says to Elon Musk.
Why people loathe you. I mean, some people do loathe you.
Yes, some people do.
But do you understand why? Do you think what you're doing is helpful for Western democracy?
Maybe some people do loathe me. And that's probably true. I don't care. But the fact that, as you pointed out, 250 million people follow me is that I think a lot more people actually like me than don't. And I think a lot more people hate you and the media more than you realize.
Oh, he is absolutely right. Absolutely right.
Yeah.
I saw the extended version of this.
Yeah.
And she looked like Elon Musk smacked her on the side of the head with a brick when he said, but you know what? He's actually right. I mean, I believe that more people like Elon Musk than hate Elon Musk. And I believe that more people loathe and don't trust, and I don't know what outfit she's with, but I think more people distrust the media than they do Elon Musk.
Yep.
But it depends on who you're talking about, right? So if you're talking about people on the left, they despise Elon Musk and they despise Newsmax and Fox News.
Yep.
And if you're on our side of the aisle, you despise the mainstream media, MS Now, CNN, so on and so forth. So there's a lot of loathing going around, but I think that more people like Elon Musk and everything that he has done. You know the crazy thing about the hatred for Elon Musk? And I don't have it in front of me, but all of the amazing inventions that he has done that helps people. The people that have, I'll have to pull it up, but he has come up with some amazing things, helping blind people see.
Yes.
There are things like that he is doing that, amazingly enough, fly under the radar. And so the only reason why they loathe Elon Musk is for two reasons. Number one, because of his affiliation with Donald Trump. That's number one. And number two, because if somebody criticizes him, he'll go right back at you.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with that. He stands up for himself. He sticks up for himself. So I don't know. And by the way, the left loved him. The left loved Elon Musk before he came out and supported Donald Trump. And yes, he did work with Doge. And I still believe that I don't think Doge went far enough. I think that Doge quit while it was, not ahead. I think there's still a lot of work to be done because they did find a lot of fraud within our government, and I think that was one of the reasons why people loathe Elon Musk. But it's one of the reasons why I really like Elon Musk. All right, I'm getting the windmill from Sam. So
the windmill of death.
The windmill of death. So Joan, what is that?
That's the new windmill music.
Oh, is that what we're going to start doing? Is that what we're going to start doing now?
It's classy.
Okay.
It doesn't sound very much like death to me.
No.
It's whimsical.
That's what it sounds like, whimsical.
Maybe death is supposed to be whimsical.
So apparently if I'm running late, you're going to start bringing this up?
Yeah.
All right, very good. 5:55, Joan was coming up.
President Trump returns to the scene of the crime tonight. That story at 6 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Mark Spain Real Estate. Listen, friends, if you are stuck in a home you cannot sell, call Mark Spain Real Estate. If your open houses are being ignored, call Mark Spain. If you're tired of making costly repairs while your home goes unsold, again, call Mark Spain. Their guaranteed offer does indeed keep you in control. You're going to get out of your home fast and with maximum profit. Now, Mark Spain Real Estate has over 72,000 clients, is the #1 most reviewed real estate company in America. They've got 13,000 five-star reviews. They cannot be wrong. Mark Spain Real Estate is the company that I recommend for selling your home. So call them right now and get out of your home fast and move on to the next chapter in your life. 855-29-SOLD is a phone number. 855-299-SOLD. 855-299-SOLD. Go to markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer on your home today and start packing. That's markspain.com. .559 Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. 7211, Joan, we're getting criticized on the super text line.
We're getting well Dan and Sammed at the same time.
7211 says, well, you two are married men. Apparently, because we were
Oh, gushing over the girl.
Just so we're clear, I didn't say that the reporter for the Mike Lindell, My Pillow guy, I didn't say that she was attractive. All I said was that her dress was hiked up to the upper thigh. That's all I said. That I was not making a comment as to how attractive or unattractive she was. I was merely stating how high her dress was hiked up. Now, Sam, on the other hand, we're going to have to come in and get the place, mopped up from all the drool coming off of his, lower lip.
That wasn't true.
Jeez.
Okay, I guess that went over well. It is 6 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Play the ID. Thank you.
Good morning. It's now 6 o'clock. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. President Trump is returning to the stage tonight. He'll deliver remarks at the rescheduled White House Correspondents' Dinner at the Waldorf Astoria. Now, it was in April that a gunman stormed into that annual banquet in a bid to kill the president and members of his cabinet. Secret Service Director Sean Curran on the threat level to his protectees.
There's numbers at this agency, and certainly I have never seen in my 24-year career. They're off the charts. I think the environment has become very volatile. Right now, we have an advance team there, and they will take back and they will set up a plan to set that site up for success.
Yeah, now fewer guests this time around. The White House Correspondents Association says the dinner will not only be an opportunity to carry out our program, it'll be a statement that violence has no place in American life and a free press will not be intimidated into silence. Local news, a 40-year-old Nashville man has been arrested and charged with statutory rape after an investigation into a so-called sexual relationship with a 16-year-old boy. Here's News 2's Bob Mueller.
Metro Police say Sean Medley was arrested at an apartment on Brick Church Pike today. He was reported to police after Medley shared inappropriate photos of the boy with another man. The teen's mother confirmed the two had been dating for the last 6 months.
Yeah, you heard that right. The boy's mom told police that the 40-year-old man met the 16-year-old on a dating app. Medley was charged with aggravated statutory rape and especially aggravated sexual exploitation of a minor. A Porsche dealership is coming to the Sobro neighborhood. Sonic Automotive has broken ground on a 3-story, 52,000 square foot dealership on Lindsley Avenue, just outside downtown Nashville. This will be Porsche's second retail location in Middle Tennessee. The Brentwood location opened in 2019. Money News brought to you by Beacon Capital Management, online at beaconcm.com.
A broad sell-off left the Dow Jones down more than 500 points at the close Thursday. The industrials finished the session at 51,712. The S&P fell 1.2%. The Nasdaq Composite plunged more than 2%. Yesterday's stock market retreat was driven largely by a sharp spike in oil prices as hostilities in the Middle East ramped up. The international benchmark Brent crude is again pushing $99 a barrel. Consumers are paying $4.10 on average for a gallon of gas. As one set of tariffs expires, another takes its place. The Trump administration says duties ranging from 10 to 12.5% are being slapped on imports from 60 countries that it says don't do enough to stop forced labor. After a series of high-profile incidents, public skepticism of driverless taxis has only intensified. But now an independent study has found that Waymo's robocabs are indeed involved in fewer crashes than human drivers. Jim Ryan, ABC News.
And stock futures this morning looking pretty good. The Dow futures are plus 266. That's the latest news. We've got traffic and weather next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
Thank you, Joan. 603, Dan Mandis here. Lifelong dog owner. I've seen all kinds of behaviors with my animals, and I bet that you have too. Now, if you've got a dog that needs some behavior training, my buddy Jeff and his crew at Ridgeside Canine Nashville, they can help you. They can help your dog. I call them dog whisperers. So if your precious pup has aggression, potty problems, anxiety, basic obedience, they can help you and your family. One of the things that I love about Ridgeside Canine Nashville, they believe that owner education is just as important as dog training. And long-term success with your dog begins with you. And Ridgeside Canine Nashville, they've got a lifetime support guarantee. They are there for you 24/7. So check them out today. Ridgeside Canine Nashville online, rsk9nash.com. That's the letter K, the number 9, rsk9nash.com. Ridgeside Canine Nashville, veteran-owned, proven results, and guaranteed for life.
Couple of crashes, one in Oak Hill on Harding Place at I-65, another at Percy Priest Lake on Hobson Pike on the Hobson Pike Bridge. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.607 Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Who wants to talk about Iran?
Nobody.
It's going so well. Listen, Joan, I cover the news on this program. Okay, y'all can stop. I owe it to the listening audience to make sure that they know what is going on with the war in Iran, because it literally impacts everything here in America, from our economy, gas prices, the elections, and so forth. But lucky for you, I've got a truncated version this morning. You're welcome. So last night was the 13th consecutive night of bombing Iran. We continue to hit their infrastructure and drone launching capabilities. And essentially what we're trying to do is diminish their abilities to close or restrict the Strait of Hormuz. Now, I'm with you. For the love of all that is holy, $38 billion. What infrastructure do they have left, right? I know. I had that monologue yesterday. But remember, we're also going after them for coordinating with their terror proxy in Yemen to hit Saudi Arabian oil tankers in the Red Sea. Again, we talked about that too. That, of course, means they're expanding their war into a second major choke point. So that's going to mean even higher gas prices. Actually, Joan, what is the, do we have the gas futures, the oil futures right now? Where are we
The
at?
oil futures today?
Yeah.
A little less than they were yesterday. So at the moment, Brent crude is trading at $98.02 a barrel, and West Texas intermediary at $89.95 a barrel. So that's down about 2%, a little more than 2% for both today.
All right. Now, I don't know if you know this, EU diplomats have been ordered to evacuate Iran. Now, I don't know about you. I was surprised that they're even still in Iran, to be honest.
That is kind of
it's
incredible.
Like, why are you still there? So now Iran and Great Britain, they're engaged in a war of words. And so now Iran, of course, is threatening Great Britain as well, like they do. And also, the president has a message for Iran. Any ships that you damage or destroy, well, guess what? You, Iran, will be reimbursing those companies by way of all the money that we have and that we're holding that is actually Iran's.
President Trump is warning of major military punishment if Iran-backed Houthi rebels continue threatening shipping in the Red Sea. Meanwhile, the Islamic Republic and Great Britain are exchanging harsh words. Chief International Correspondent Steve Harrigan live again in Tel Aviv tonight. Good evening, Steve.
Good evening, Brett. That's right. Iran's Revolutionary Guard making threats of its own, saying that air bases in Britain are legitimate targets due to the fact that U.S. B-1 bomber raids are taking place from air bases in Britain. The Revolutionary Guard saying now those bases could come under attack.
Now, here's my question. You think this will finally, because I was talking yesterday about Saudi Arabia, and all right, so now that Saudi Arabia is, being attacked, their export shipping lanes are being attacked by Iran, then is Saudi Arabia going to be more active in taking out Iran? I'd ask the same thing here about Great Britain. All right, Great Britain, so get up off your arse and help us militarily.
By Iran, Britain's government responding quickly, saying the UK stands ready 24/7 to defend itself. Of course, those B-1 bombers now in use carry a huge conventional payload, 75,000 pounds of weapons. They can be refueled in the air. They don't have stealth capability, but when you control the skies, you don't need stealth, and that's the case for much of Iran at this point. As far as U.S. forces go, for the 12th night in a row last night, they hit military targets inside Iran. President Trump has warned that civilian infrastructure targets could come into play as targets. That's if Iran continues to target civilian shipping in the Strait of Hormuz.
Yep. And so President Trump, by the way, again, has also said that any damage to ships done by Iran will be paid for by Iranian money, and that the U.S., we have a bunch of money that belongs to Iran in our possession. We control that money as well. So, you know what? If Iran continues to go after Saudi Arabian ships, there's one that's already been damaged, leaked a bunch of oil, as a matter of fact. We'll be using the Iranian money that we have in our possession and that we control to pay back Saudi Arabia. Now, there's a lot of discussion about how this war with Iran has been ongoing for years, obviously, since 1979 and the hostage crisis. There was a moment, I want to play this. There was a moment on Abby Phillips' show, of course, on CNN, that I thought was really interesting, because there's a lot of discussion as far as, who has been dealing with Iran better, Donald Trump or, for example, Barack Obama. So to set the stage, you've got Democrat Ro Khanna, of course, again, a Democrat from California, and he is trying to make the case that Obama handled Iran better than Donald Trump. Peter Meyer, a congressman, jumps in to Donald Trump's defense, but I want you to listen to how disingenuous, I know, shocking, a Democrat who's disingenuous, but this is a Democrat, Ro Khanna, talking about Obama versus Trump on Iran.
What's gnawing at Trump is that Barack Obama was far more effective, that Barack Obama actually got China and the EU and got a multilateral agreement that got 97% of enriched uranium out. And it turns out being statesmanlike and being smart and strategic is better than bluster for America's national interest. And
all right, so Peter Meyer's going to jump in, but I can't let that go. So the Democrats will always say, 97% of the uranium was taken out of Iran or whatever it was. That's actually not true. we actually don't know what really happened with Iran and their enriched uranium because we didn't have access to that uranium without the Iranians' permission. So we didn't have access to the uranium. We didn't have access to their nuclear facilities. We didn't have access to anything. And so we obviously can't trust Iran. So, Ro Khanna, he's using these talking points, but the reality is that we don't know. And by the way, with the way that Iran has been acting these days, where they come to an agreement and then they break that agreement literally like 24 hours later, they're only proving the point that they could not be trusted when it comes to Barack Obama's nuclear deal from way back when. And the thing about the nuclear deal with Obama and Iran, we talked about this at the time here on WTN with yours truly, was that they couldn't be trusted. And they're only proving that even more right now. I got a lot more straight ahead. 6:15, time to check the roads on WTN. As far as weather goes, today, cloudy 85. Tomorrow, Saturday, also cloudy and 85. Sunday, hotter, humid, and a high of 92. Appreciate you listening to Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. By the way, coming up at 6:35, we do have Hans von Spakovsky, and he's going to be here talking about the constitutionality of flock cameras. That's going to be a great conversation. Looking forward to that. Right now, going through everything that is happening with Iran. We have gone through now our 13th night of bombing infrastructure, their drones, their drone storage facilities, and all of that. And I'm reviewing some of this audio between Ro Khanna, of course, a disingenuous Democrat, lying Democrat, and Peter Meyer, who is a Republican. And they're arguing over who handled Iran better, Barack Obama or Donald Trump.
Now the president has made a mess of things, made a mess of the economy, but his ego will not permit him to go to Xi Jinping and the European leaders and have a multilateral solution to get us out of this mess and to help the Americans.
Before you jump I mean, the Iranians killed an order of magnitude more Americans under President Obama than they have under President
Trump. That's just not true.
That is absolutely true. I was in Iraq getting the EFPs that the Iranians were supplying to the Jaish al-Mahdi, Assad al-Haq, all of the Iranian-backed militias.
Obama didn't go to Dover Air Force Base and have to look at dead Americans coming in. Obama didn't preside over the Strait of Hormuz.
I mean, he should have, because there were my colleagues coming back from Iraq.
All right, so here's the reality. Again, Ro Khanna is not being truthful. So what Peter Meyer is talking about is that Iran employs and controls these terrorist groups across the Middle East. Everybody knows that. You can also talk about the roadside bombs that Iran has manufactured for use, particularly in the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan. And a lot of those bombs were made in Iran, or they were made in Iraq, but using Iranian parts. So when you zoom out and you look at it from that standpoint, absolutely. And that's what I choose to do here on the morning show, is I do say Iran has been behind the deaths of many Americans, the injuring of many Americans as well. So again, Ro Khanna just doing what he does. But the reality is that under Obama, far more Americans were killed in Iraq during Obama's years, courtesy of either terrorist organizations funded by Iran or from the equipment that Iran either manufactured in Iran, sent to Iraq, or manufactured in Iraq using those Iranian parts. Also injured because a lot of those bombs and terrorist groups Iran employed, that's what they do. They kill, they maim. The numbers are disputed, but honestly, the numbers of those killed specifically by Iranian proxies or their bombs, it's in the hundreds or the thousands, depending on what numbers you're looking at. We have seen with this current war with Iran, 14 or so. Some people say 14, some people say 15, some people say 18, whatever. But Meyer is right. The rest of it, though, I got to be honest with you, things are a mess in Iran right now. I mean, I think we can all agree to that, right?
Correct, but not from the direct.
Who were killed by Iranian
by proxy groups.
Yes,
those were being killed. Those were being killed under the first Trump term as well, and you know that as well as I do. Trump has created a disaster.
And killed under Biden
and what he has done is he engaged in the very regime change wars that he ran against, and he believes that he can attack.
That's the criticism. There's no regime change, right? That is the crux of the Democratic criticism. You haven't changed the regime. It's not a regime change.
Well, and here's the deal. It's hard to have regime change when you don't really know who runs Iran. I mean, I think we do. We know who runs Iran. It's the Islamic Revolutionary Guard. But Sam, look it up. How many of these Islamic Revolutionary Guards are there? Like, I mean, I remember we did this once before. It's not in the hundreds. I think it's more than that, but it's a large group of individuals, and there's a big army, and then you've got people in charge of the army.
Yeah, I mean, it's a big, the active core of the entire group is estimated to be between 150 and 190,000.
Okay. So, yeah. And then there's the people that are in charge of it. So, being able to, and here's the deal. I don't know. Donald Trump knew this, or at least he should have known it. I think that, and this is my own personal opinion, people can hate on me all you want. I think that Donald Trump was emboldened by how quickly we took out Maduro in Venezuela. And I forget what the military operation was called previously in Iran. Was it Midnight Hammer? I can't remember. But anyway, Trump was emboldened by the most recent military victories that we've had. And I think that he thought that this was going to be a lot easier than it turned out to be. So are things a mess in Iran right now? We have got a lot of challenges in Iran that we need to figure out. Right now, we're just trying to keep the Strait of Hormuz open. Now, we're also trying to keep the Red Sea open to oil exporting out of Saudi Arabia. And again, not to belabor the point, but if Iran is able to stop those exports or restrict what Saudi Arabia is doing, then this could be a very, very big problem for not only our economy, but the worldwide economy. So obviously, this is very important. We'll continue to keep you updated on all things regarding the Iran war. It is 6:22 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN, and Joan has the news at 6:30. Joan.
Yeah, so where are we on the Save America Act? The White House and the Senate leader are having some words about it. That's the story at 6:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.622 Super Talk 99.7. Why should you go to Brentwood Jewelry for all your jewelry needs? Well, why not? Brentwood Jewelry is simply the best in Middle Tennessee. They've got incredible selections of watches for both men and women for any budget. Great selections of Rolexes, both new and used as well. And by the way, if you like pocket knives, they feature the William Henry collection. They are beautiful. Now, if you're getting engaged, they've got everything from wedding bands to semi-mount engagement rings and a whole lot more. And guys, if you're looking for something for that special lady in your life, maybe something special for something special, they feature bracelets and earrings and necklaces and a lot more. Again, with Brentwood Jewelry, great prices, great selection as well, and outstanding customer service. Brentwood Jewelry, they love America just like we do. You walk in, they've got flags all over the store. Exceptional styles, exceptional deals every day for over 50 years. BrentwoodJewelry.com. 624 Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Coming up, Joan, one of the most random texts I think I've received in a long time. When I tell you about my friends at Loan Pronto, if you've got a 2, 3, or 4% mortgage rate, don't refinance it. You don't have to. You can still get cash out of your home, courtesy of my friends at Loan Pronto and their zero-cost equity loan. That's right. Now, with Loan Pronto, you can get all the cash you need without touching your first mortgage and without any fees. That's right. Now, one local homeowner just got $100,000, paid off all their credit cards, paid off their existing HELOC, remodeled their kitchen, and saved over $1,500 per month. Now, it does get better because there's no hard credit pull up front, usually no appraisal, and no long drawn-out process as well. And listen, no closing costs. You might even be able to skip your next 2 house payments. So call Loan Pronto right now. Leave your low-rate mortgage intact, but get the cash you need in as little as 2 weeks without paying closing costs. LoanPronto.com is the website, LoanPronto.com. See how much money you can get right now. Call them. Tell them Dan told you to reach out. 615-499-5780. 615-499-5780. LoanPronto.com. For qualified homeowners, equal housing lender, NMLS 166-1781, NMLSConsumerAccess.org. $628. Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7. WTN Super Text line is open, 615-737-9986. So this is what's funny, is that we look at this, you folks who watch on Super Talk TV, you can literally see me looking to my left, and that is where the Super Text line is, at least for my particular show. Some people have it on their laptop, whatever. But somebody had typed a text message that they were in L.A., Joan, and said it was 4:20 in L.A., and they'd gone to some place like Tito's for like tacos and enchiladas.
No.
What was that?
No,
and I can't find it anymore. It went away. I don't know if they, I don't know. Can you unsend a text? But it was really random.
They kept texting.
What's that?
They kept texting.
Oh, they kept texting.
Yeah.
So there's more to
I didn't really...
3888. That's who it was. And so if you want me to translate this for you, the text reads at 6:23, it's 4:20 in L.A. I've got to have a Tito's and tomato juice.
Okay, so what is that? Because I'm reading that and I'm like, I don't understand what that means.
Vodka.
Oh, vodka. Is
Tito's
that...
vodka.
Tito's vodka.
And tomato juice.
Yes.
And
Okay.
it being 4:20 in LA means that someone is waking up and having a particular herbal remedy before they start their day.
Oh.
So this...
I am so naive, Joan.
Yeah, apparently you
See,
are.
when I lived in LA, there was a place called Tito's. I used to go for tacos. That's what.
Innocently thought this person is waking up for breakfast tacos at 4:20 in the morning.
Listen, you can get anything at 4:20 in the morning in LA. So I'm
And I
just
bet
saying.
those tacos taste better after 4:20 at 4:20 in the morning in LA.
He also says, "Dear Dan, Nashville was better when the Greeks ran Candyland." I don't know what that means, so I'm just going to go ahead and move on. And you keep enjoying that 4:20 3888. It is 6:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
6:30, I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. Well, it's getting a little testy between the White House and the Senate over the Save America Act. Senate Majority Leader John Thune firing back at Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt after she told reporters yesterday that President Trump's patience is running out over the Senate's inability to move the Save America Act.
She or somebody else ought to get on the phone and get the votes. Right? It's 50 around here. So instead of, pointing the finger at Republicans, they might think about going after the people who are stopping it on the floor, which is the Democrats.
The Save America Act, which would require ID to cast a ballot and proof of citizenship to register to vote, has stalled in the Senate because of the 60-vote filibuster threshold, which Thune is also not willing to get rid of. The Trump administration announcing new tariffs on dozens of countries. It began at midnight. This new round of tariffs is designed to withstand legal scrutiny after the Supreme Court struck down most of his global tariffs in February. These new tariffs range from 10 to 12.5%. They're being imposed under Section 301 of the Trade Act of 1974. They target countries that have failed to prevent forced labor in the workplace. U.S. Trade Representative Jamieson Greer on CNN.
So for over 100 years, the United States has had a law on the books prohibiting the import of goods made with forced labor. This is common sense, and we've enforced this law to prohibit it. What seems like common sense, I think, to you and me, others haven't done. In other countries, no one really has these types of laws, and even in that small handful of countries that have them, they don't really enforce it.
Now, the tariffs cover 60 countries that import 99% of the goods that are imported into the U.S. And the Tennessee Valley Authority announcing its new Cumberland natural gas plant will be fully operational by the end of the year. This is the largest gas plant in TVA's history. It's expected to generate enough electricity to power 850,000 homes. That's the latest news, traffic, and weather next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
Thank you, Joan. 632. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. One of your biggest priorities in life, friends, is to protect your family. And if the power goes out in your neighborhood, you need to get it back on quickly. You need the Generator Supercenter. Now, you've seen the horror stories of power being out for days or weeks at a time. The Generator Supercenter provides backup home standby generators at a terrific price and outstanding customer service. The Generator Supercenter. Matter of fact, go to their website right now. Find out how you can save $500. Now, tell them Dan Mandis told you to reach out. Generator Supercenter of Nashville.com is that website, Generator Supercenter of Nashville.com. See how you can get started. Now, they feature turnkey installation, certified plumbers and electricians, and service after the install, and a whole lot more. So the power goes out in your neighborhood. You've got a backup power generator, so your power goes right back on. And at the Generator Supercenter, they also have their generators made right here in America. 615-879-1952, 615-879-1952. And don't forget to check out their website, Generator Supercenter of Nashville.com. Tell them Dan told you to reach out. Find out how you can save $500.
Crews are still on the scene of a crash at Percy Priest Lake this morning, and now Hobson Pike at the Hobson Pike Bridge is closed because of a crash there. Oak Hill, Harding Place eastbound at I-65, a crash is on the right shoulder. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.637 Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Super Text line is open, 615-737-9986. Congressman Tim Burchett, Eastern Tennessee, had this to say about flock cameras.
I proposed legislation, here's the bill, to eliminate federal funding and federal agencies purchasing those flock cameras. I find it pretty disgusting. They're pretty draconian, and you can look that up if you want to know what that means. It's called the Protection Against Mass Surveillance Act, and it prohibits federal agencies from purchasing, deploying, or contract with automated surveillance systems. These things violate our constitutional rights. I've always been for protecting constitutional freedoms. I think it's one of the most important responsibilities, one of the important things we do as congressmen.
All right, so that is Congressman Tim Burchett, and he says that these flock cameras violate the Fourth Amendment. Now, remember, the Fourth Amendment, it protects us against unreasonable search and seizure. When I bring on into the program Hans von Spakovsky, going to talk to him about the constitutional aspects of flock cameras. And for people that don't know, and Hans, go ahead and correct me or add to what I'm about to say, but flock cameras, basically they are license plate readers on steroids. And so there's a long conversation, a big conversation across America about flock cameras. And, basically what they can do is they can tell the authorities where you have been, and they can even really plot as to what you're going to do in the future based on what has happened in the past. And so a lot of people saying this goes beyond, simply trying to find a criminal. This goes to surveillance and tracking. Hans, good morning to you. How are you?
I'm doing just fine. And look, I understand the concern people have about it. I have it also. What I can tell you is that this issue has not yet gotten to the Supreme Court, but a similar issue, I think similar, was just decided by the court. Before the Supreme Court broke for its summer term, it issued a decision in a case called Chattree versus U.S. And the facts of the case were pretty simple. A guy robbed a bank in Virginia. So the police went to Google because apparently there was video showing the guy talking on his cell phone. So they went to Google and said, we want the records of everybody who was on their cell phone was within 300 feet of this bank. And using that, they finally eliminated other folks, and they managed to find the guy who was talking on his phone and robbed the bank. And what the court said in this case was that the police, when they did that, it's called a geofence warrant, they were conducting a Fourth Amendment search, and they had to have a warrant for that. And why? Well, because Americans have a reasonable expectation of privacy in the record of their physical movements. All right, now that's not quite the same as cameras recording license plates, but look, this was a majority opinion. It was written by Kagan. Conservatives also agreed with this. And in essence, what they said was the Fourth Amendment has to keep track with modern technology. And I think what may happen at some point in the future is when government surveillance becomes so pervasive that they can track where you are all the time, I'm actually pretty sure the Supreme Court is going to say that's a violation of the Fourth Amendment. It's a violation of privacy rights. But they haven't done that yet. And of course, this was not the same kind of case because it was different circumstances.
Yeah, that was regarding people on their cell phones, and this is just people, driving around.
Right.
So let's talk real quick, Hans, about this expectation of privacy, because this has been a topic of conversation on WTN. And so there's a lot of folks that will call up and say, well, you have no expectation of privacy if you are out on the city streets. And what I read was, basically what you expose, if you will, to, the public. In other words, you are out and it's your car and you're out on the streets. You have no right or expectation of privacy. But talk about how that applies to these flock cameras, because, these flock cameras, they are tracking you, and they can figure out pretty easily, especially with artificial intelligence, which is incorporated into these flock cameras. They can really predict where you're going to be almost at any given time.
Well, that's why this Chattery case of cell phones was interesting, because in that case, the court rejected the argument that collecting only a short period of location data somehow avoids the Fourth Amendment. And in fact, Kagan wrote that the Fourth Amendment exists to protect citizens from, and this is a quote, a too permeating police surveillance. And again, she emphasized that all these new technologies are dramatically expanding the ability of the government to monitor innocent people. And again, that constitutional protections have to keep pace. And that's why, look, I'll give you a comparison. Anybody who's a tourist in London these days, you should realize that the United Kingdom has put in an extensive, comprehensive camera system throughout the entire city of London. It doesn't just watch license plates. These cameras monitor the streets all over the city. They're all connected into one network. They can basically watch any person walking anywhere throughout the entire city, track everywhere they go. I can tell you that if any city tried to put that kind of system in the U.S., the Supreme Court, I have no doubt all 9 justices would toss that out as a violation of the Fourth Amendment and people's privacy. But at what point do you get to a system that's so pervasive that it violates the Fourth Amendment? We don't know yet because the court hadn't said. Well,
and people are trying to compare us to China with this surveillance, but in China, they have facial recognition as well. These flock cameras, they only do vehicles and unique features of the vehicles. And from what I understand, they're only on roads and in parking lots. Whereas in China, they are literally everywhere. So we're not China yet, but we're always going to start somewhere, and that's what a lot of people are concerned about. Part of the problem too here, perhaps Hans von Spakovsky is joining us, is that the police or the authorities can get access to this data without a warrant. So if they can change the laws where a warrant is necessary to get access to that data, does that alleviate some of these Fourth Amendment concerns?
Well, it would, some of it, and in fact, that's what happened with your cell phone data. The Supreme Court has said that the police have to get a warrant and they have to have probable cause if they want to get a warrant to go to, your telephone company and find out where the heck you have been. Now, I should tell folks, there is a case working its way through the courts right now. 2 residents of Norfolk, Virginia, which, as you know, big military city, Navy base, etc. They sued, making exactly the claim we're talking about, that these the flock cameras are violating their privacy rights and the Fourth Amendment right that they have in the city of Norfolk. They lost at the trial court or federal district court level, although the judge gave an interesting opinion in which he said, well, it doesn't violate their rights yet. And I think, he was kind of hinting at what I've just said, that it depends on how pervasive this. Anyway, they appealed. That case is now up before the Fourth U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals, and I have no doubt that whichever way the appeals court comes out, the losers are going to appeal that to the Supreme Court. And so we might get a very interesting decision on this.
More with Hans von Spakovsky is coming up next. It's 6:45. Time to check the roads on WTN. As far as weather goes, today, cloudy 85. Saturday, cloudy 85. Sunday, hotter, humid, and a high of 92. Hans, let me ask you this question. So if the Flock cameras, and just so people know, Flock is the name of the company that is really rolling out these cameras, but there's a number of different companies that do this. So if the Supreme Court ultimately ruled against the Flock cameras, then would that also mean that LPRs would be considered unconstitutional?
Yeah, potentially so. Keep in mind, with the kind of cases we've been getting on new technology, we also remember a couple of years ago, when the cops arrested an individual, they seized his cell phone. They started reading all of the information and data he had on it. And the Supreme Court came out and said, you can't do that. You have to get a warrant to be able to get inside a person's cell phone. Why? Well, because these days, all of us, it's like a walking filing cabinet on our lives. And that's, again, the way the Fourth Amendment. Look, the government in all these cases is arguing you're driving on a public road and therefore you don't have an expectation of privacy. But this isn't about one observation. That what these cases are about is you have now technology that is allowing the government to aggregate countless observations in a searchable database, which means, as you said, you can reconstruct a person's movements over time. That's a lot different than appearing in public once and somebody sees you there. That's very different from a government database that can track everywhere you've gone in public.
So, no, you're absolutely right. And I really was not sure about this topic or this issue until I really started reading into it. And it is pretty scary that they can have access to this information without a warrant. That's number one. Number two, there's example after example after example of people getting access to this information and tracking, a wife, an ex-wife, a girlfriend, whatever, right, or just tracking, people that they know. And it's crazy. There was one story where a guy apparently thought that a woman was good looking, got her information and was able to somehow put it into the Flock camera database /system and was able to track her. So there's a lot here that is incredibly worrisome. I don't know. I've been trying to think about this because I think about things in a political sense as well as a legal and constitutional. I don't think that there is a traditional, if you're a conservative, you feel this way. If you're a liberal, you feel this way. I think this is sort of one of those stories that sort of, crosses all political boundaries. I mean, if you're a leftist, you're going to be horrified at this. And if you're a conservative, you're going to be horrified at this as well. Or you might be more law and order and you're okay with the invasion of privacy because you want the criminals caught.
Yeah, no, I think this is a issue. Americans, whether they're liberal or conservative, we all believe in a right to privacy. And I think this is actually something that does cross those kind of political lines. Look, I'm a big believer in law and order. I'm very much a supporter of law enforcement. You and I have spoken about some of the crazy Soros prosecutors who refuse to to actually investigate crimes and prosecute criminals. But I have a great fear of a surveillance state being set up by the government through the use of this kind of modern technology. And I don't want us to become like, we're not China. I don't want us to become even like London, which is supposedly a democracy, and yet they've already got systems like this for tracking everybody in the city of London.
So this may be a silly question, maybe it's not, but okay, so there's state regulations and state laws and state policies, and then there's federal policies as well. Obviously, if this case out of Norfolk, Virginia, that's going to go to the Supreme Court, and then the Supreme Court, do you believe that they'll decide that privacy is being violated here? Is that your prediction?
I think it will depend again on. I know I keep using this word. I think it depends on how pervasive.
Yeah.
How pervasive the flock system is and how it's operated. Like I said, they said you got to have a warrant just to go get cell phone data in that bank robbery case, and I suspect the same arguments that they used in that case they would apply to flock technology, flock cameras. But like I said, we're going to have to see what happens when it gets there.
Going to be really interesting. Is there like a timeline? Do attorney types can you tell like when it'll end up getting to the Supreme Court?
No, I think the Norfolk judge issued his opinion in January of this year. They appealed it to the Fourth Circuit. It could be, oh my gosh, it could be another year before the Fourth Circuit, gets through the case and issues a decision, and then they would try to go to the Supreme Court. So we're not going to hear anything anytime soon.
All right, Hans, always great to have you on. Is there anything that we left on the table regarding this discussion?
No, just be careful when you're driving and you go past those cameras and you're doing like 90% of Americans do on the interstate. You're speeding.
Yeah, no, I know. All right, thank you, Hans. Always great to have you on, and you have a great weekend.
Right, thanks.
All right. He must have been listening the other day, Joan, when I talked about how I got pulled over for doing, what was it, a 48 and a 35? Is that what I got pulled over for?
Speed demon.
Speed demon that I am.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Flat cameras. Allegedly, that's exactly right. Allegedly. There's a video, I can't play it now, but I've got video of a woman in Colorado. I don't know if Chris played this video, but there's video of a woman in Colorado, and cop shows up at her house, and he's got a bunch of pictures from a flock camera, and he basically is saying, I know that you've been porch pirating, right? I know that you've been porch pirating. You've been stealing all of these things because the flock camera shows that you were in the neighborhood. And he was like, I am 100% sure that you did this. Turns out she didn't do it. And so this belligerent cop, and by the way, I love police. You all know I love police. But this belligerent cop was clearly wrong. And it turns out that it was some other blonde-haired woman with the same kind of car, but just amazing. So, just because you've got flock data doesn't mean that you've got the right person, because there's a lot of other things involved. Anyway, 6:55. So the bottom line is that whole conversation with Hans von Spakovsky is, does it violate the Fourth Amendment, these flock cameras? We don't really know yet. It's got to go to the Supreme Court, but I mean, if I'm hearing him right, it sounds like they will, I don't know, more than likely say that if we're going to be collecting this data, then you will need a warrant to access it. So at the very least. Anyway, 6:55, Joan's got the news coming up at 7. Joan.
Yeah, a local high school principal comes out in favor of one of Tennessee's candidates for governor. And it's raising a lot of questions. We've got the story at 7 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Very good. And Dan Mandis here for USS, United Structural Systems. You know, all of this rain that we've had, you could end up with water in your crawl space or your basement. That moisture could be an indication that you have waterproofing issues. And it also means that you need to call my friends at USS, United Structural Systems. Now, this is the company in Middle Tennessee for all things not only waterproofing, but also foundation repair and concrete leveling. Now, if something does go wrong, you need to get it fixed and fixed immediately. And if you need some financing help to do that, USS can help you out. You can get a 10% discount if you pay in full, or fix it now, pay it later. With 18 months, no payment, no interest, or choose 36 months, no interest with low payment options for qualified homeowners. USS, they're always looking to help you out with creative ways to ensure that you can fix your home fast. Now, here's the phone number for USS, United Structural Systems, 615-488-7855, 615-488-7855. We guarantee our best. Call USS, 615-488-7855, online, USSTN.com.
Good morning. It's 7 o'clock, and I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. A dramatic rescue of a construction worker in Murray County yesterday. The man fell 20 feet into the bottom of a new underground septic tank at the Santa Fe School. Here's Channel 4's Marius Payton.
Firefighters and a paramedic climbed down into the vault to get the worker. Columbia Power and Water shut off nearby power lines so crews could work safely. Now from there, firefighters used a ladder truck and a rope system to pull that worker back to the surface.
He was taken to Vanderbilt. We do not know his condition this morning. U.S. Central Command saying the 13th night of strikes against Iranian military targets and maritime infrastructure are now over, calling them a success. ABC's Karen Hua.
Overnight, U.S. forces hammered Iran for a 13th straight night as the president weighs escalating the nearly 5-month-old war.
And we want to get it over with. And we want to do it right.
Trump telling Axios, I am considering a massive attack, bigger than ever before. But he has not made a final call.
More than 50,000 U.S. service members currently operating across the Middle East. An apparent terrorist attack in New York City yesterday afternoon near a Jewish enclave. A man shouting Allahu Akbar stabbed 2 people, an Asian man and a Jewish man, both in their 50s. Lydia Lander witnessed the attack.
The next thing I see is a screwdriver in his chest. I walked right next to the attacker. Basically, he was just a few feet away from me. He didn't seem crazy. You know, sometimes you see people, they're screaming, they're acting weird. He was not.
The suspect is 51-year-old Raul Morales. He was arrested after a brief scuffle with police. He had barricaded himself in a nearby home. The 2 victims are expected to survive. And no disciplinary measures so far for a Rutherford County high school principal who filmed an endorsement video for one of Tennessee's gubernatorial candidates, then reposted it from his social media page.
My name is Clark Harrell, and I support Marsha Blackburn for governor of Tennessee. Marsha is not only a great leader, but also an incredible, genuine person. I have witnessed firsthand how she is.
High school principals do have a First Amendment right, but state rules say that only while on duty they cannot campaign, wear candidate apparel, or use school emails, letterhead, or school-funded accounts to promote anyone. Now, the Professional Educators of Tennessee says that Harrell was, quote, on a fine line there, suggesting that the video gives the appearance that the school is making the endorsement as well. Market numbers brought to you by Beacon Capital Management, online at beaconcm.com. The futures markets this morning are pointing up. We've got Dow futures plus 200, NASDAQ futures up 3, the S&P futures gaining 13 points. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
Thank you, Joan. 703 Super Talk 99.7. If you have a 2, 3, or 4% mortgage rate, don't refinance it. You don't have to. You can, though, still get cash out of your home courtesy of my friends at Loan Pronto and their zero-cost equity loan. Now, with this loan, you can get all the cash you need without touching your first mortgage and without any fees. That's right. Now, one local homeowner just got $100,000, paid off all their credit cards, paid off their existing HELOC, remodeled their kitchen, and saved over $1,500 every single month. And it does get better, actually. There's no hard credit pull up front, usually no appraisal, and no long drawn-out process, and no closing costs. You might even be able to skip your next 2 house payments. Call Loan Pronto right now. Leave your low-rate mortgage intact. Get the cash you need in as little as 2 weeks without paying closing costs. LoanPronto.com is the website. LoanPronto.com, and see how much money you can get right now. Call them. Tell them I told you to reach out. Dan Mandis, 615-499-5780, 615-499-5780, LoanPronto.com for qualified homeowners, equal housing lender, NMLS 166-1781, NMLSConsumerAccess.org.
We are looking at a closure this morning at Percy Priest Lake on Hobson Pike, on the Hobson Pike Bridge. Things are closed down this morning. There is a crash there. Crews are working on it. Got a crash in Oak Hill, too. It's on Harding Place eastbound at I-65. It's on the right shoulder. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.707 Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Coming up at 7:35, looking forward to speaking to Courtney Johnston. Do you remember yesterday we touched on this? It was a story that was breaking as the morning show continued to unfold, where this was this judge in Nashville and Davidson County, and Courtney Johnston was calling her out for dismissing traffic tickets. And so we were trying to figure out exactly what in the world was going on with this judge, Robin Kimbrough Hayes, and where she decided to just simply dismiss these traffic tickets. Well, apparently it's a battle over having a judge in her courtroom where they do, all of the traffic cases. And so this Judge Kimbrough has a disagreement with Metro Legal, because Metro Legal, Davidson County decided, well, we don't need to have a judge in this courtroom. We could just, don't need a judge. Not all of the cities our size have judges, I should say attorneys in traffic court. So you've got a judge, you've got, oftentimes if the police officer is there that wrote the ticket, maybe he's there. But in a lot of cities, they simply do not have attorneys in the room as all of this is going on. Metro Legal apparently did it one time, and then they decided that we didn't need an attorney in traffic court. Judge Kimbrough decided that she disagreed with Metro Legal, and so apparently she just decided to say, screw it, then we're not going to have any of these traffic tickets. We're just going to dismiss them. And she dismissed like an entire docket. And I guess apparently if you have a docket of traffic tickets, that can be anywhere from dozens to, Sam, hundreds?
Yeah, that should be technically like a whole day's worth of tickets. And so I'd actually talked to my parents about this last night. I wanted to know, what's the reasoning behind this? And my mom pointed out, as you did, at one time they did have representation for people available in the courtroom for traffic tickets. That is something that does happen in some bigger cities, but it's also relatively unheard of in small towns. You don't necessarily need it. A traffic ticket, in all actuality, in the state of Tennessee, is a civil matter.
Yeah.
It's not a criminal matter till a judge declares it to be, as in you never showed up for court or you never paid it, anything of that nature. That becomes the criminal act related to the traffic ticket. And so apparently this judge is now claiming I guess whichever constitutional right assures you the right to an attorney, that should apply to traffic tickets too. And that's just kind of unheard of as mandating it.
Well, it sounds silly because, again, this is not unheard of, not having an attorney in traffic court. That's number one. Number two, okay, so she couldn't just push these, dozens or hundreds or however many traffic violations, and the people were on the docket that day. She couldn't have just pushed those back. She decided to just dismiss all of them. And I don't know who this judge is, Robin Kimbrough Hayes, but it sounds kind of petulant. Mm-hmm. It sounds kind of like, okay, you're not going to give me my attorney in my courtroom, then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to dismiss all of these cases, this entire docket. And I'm going to find out from Courtney Johnston exactly how many of these traffic violations were dismissed by this judge. But it just sounds like she was being petulant. Maybe I'm wrong. I've been wrong before, but it just sounds like a petulant thing to do.
Yes, and I think part of the reasoning behind that, if I could put on my in the courtroom hat as someone that's frequented courtrooms, it's probably an instance of being exhausted of explaining to traffic ticket recipients what their options are. That's what it would boil down to, because it should come from the judge or an attorney as to what your options are to deal with your ticket. I've gotten several tickets in Greenbrier, Tennessee. Not happy about it. They will get you if you're going through there even just a little bit over. But every time that judge in their traffic court makes it simple, you walk up, he goes, okay, we can do traffic school if you're eligible. Make sure you have your driving history. If not, I'm going to order you to pay the ticket and you'll be on your way. It should be that simple. But she's taking questions from people, I would imagine, who are frustrated. Well, why isn't the officer here to explain why he thought I was speeding or blah, 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 blah. And the judge probably gets worn out from answering those questions. And so if there's not going to be an attorney present to do it for her, well, then I'm just not going to hear anything about traffic tickets.
So this might be, as I said, a personal protest of the judge as well. And I don't know. How do they do it I don't know how they do it in bigger cities, because if they do it in bigger cities or smaller cities or the same size cities where they don't have an attorney in a traffic court. I mean, I went to traffic court and I just, I paid it.
By the way, she's dismissed 3 full dockets.
Right, 3 full dockets.
Not just, so, I mean,
yeah,
that could be up to hundreds at that point. Because it should be, in all honesty, it should be the cop that wrote the tickets there, and they all get the court date. They're the one that set it 99% of the time. So they're going to be there. They're going to have whatever, their radar gun printout, whatever they need to prove, no, judge, this person was doing 95 in a 70 or whatever. And it should be as simple as, okay, if you want to have a trial about it, you have a right to it, and the judge will put that on a separate docket, and that will get moving and be pushed and all that.
Yeah.
But it should just be a in and out process, and you should be processing somebody every 5 to 10 minutes up there for their traffic ticket.
I do wonder why Metro Legal decided to eliminate attorneys from the courtroom. I wonder if it was just one of those things where it was more cost effective not to have attorneys?
Well, so in consulting with my parents who have had to work with Metro Legal before, it comes down to resources at the end of the day. Metro Legal is basically provides the public defender system in Nashville, Tennessee. There's some other elements to it that we didn't get into detail of, but it's not a mandate. It's not legally required in the state of Tennessee that you have an attorney present to represent you in traffic court. And so it happened at one point. I don't know when that would have been, because I can remember getting a ticket in high school and didn't have an attorney show up for me over that.
I think people are misunderstanding. 5814 says, sorry, Dan, I disagree with you. I'm on board with this judge. Everyone should have a right to a lawyer, whether it's a civil or criminal. Taking that right away is wrong. But this attorney, isn't this attorney representing the city?
Yeah, well, no, these attorneys would, I guess in turn, would be technically representing people on behalf of the traffic tickets, because the prosecution, air quotes, in a traffic situation is going to be the officer that wrote the citation. And I think people are confused. The right to the attorney specifically comes in the criminal aspect, or if I were to sue you in a circuit court in a civil matter, the court would work out a process to get you a court-appointed attorney. Therefore, you still have a right to an attorney. What the state of Tennessee kind of says is that you don't really have to have one at traffic court. You either did the thing and can prove you didn't, or you did the thing and you need to pay your ticket and move on with your life.
All right, we'll find out from Courtney Johnston, because she is going to be with us at 7:35, and we'll find out the very latest on that. Because I do find it interesting that this judge just decided, okay, instead of pushing everything back, we're going to just eliminate the entire docket, and we've lost how much money in revenue? And I realize nobody necessarily wants to hear that, because tickets shouldn't necessarily be about revenue, but the reality is it is. But I mean, we have property taxes that are going up on these businesses, and clearly the city of Nashville and Davidson County, they do have a revenue problem. We don't have enough revenue. And this judge just deciding to do this has angered a lot of people.
Okay, so we have some clarification. My mom just texted me.
Oh, hi, Mom.
All right. So on the metro legal aspect of things, they do represent the city.
Okay, that's what I thought.
They're supposed to be the prosecuting arm of things. I thought this whole consternation based on the comments was people saying that they had a right to an attorney present at this thing.
Right.
So apparently, but still goes back to this judge wants a lawyer to explain things to people and I've never really heard of that happening where you have a prosecuting attorney in a traffic court system. I mean, that it does happen. There's some areas in the country where it's a thing, but it's typically between you, the judge, and the cop. It's the first time hearing that people are demanding a prosecuting representative for traffic
because
violations.
That's not the okay. So because I've never really been in court, so that judge is really just the judge isn't there to take the side of the city or the county. The judge is there to decide who's right and who's wrong. Is the city or the county right, or is it the person who got the ticket? So if there's nobody there from the city to prosecute, there's no attorney there to prosecute this case, well, then who is ultimately there to prosecute the case for the city?
The way it's handled in this state is it's typically left up to the judge and the officer.
Okay, so how do they do it in other states where they don't have an attorney inside the courtroom? I mean, there's got to be a way to do this. We'll ask Courtney Johnston if she has any insight onto that, because clearly this is not a deal. This is not a big deal because they don't have attorneys in the courtroom in other cities, and it just seems like it perhaps maybe is a situation where you've got to look at resources.
Here we go. So I grokked it. It is not commonplace to have a dedicated prosecuting attorney represent for routine traffic citations in most U.S. jurisdictions, including many municipalities and states. And that's actually being cited by Channel 4.
Yeah, okay. So there you go. So it's a nicety that I guess some cities have, maybe bigger, larger cities and so forth.
Well, and the other thing is that apparently these prosecuting attorneys put the paperwork together. They assemble the dockets, and according to how Grok has spit it out. So it just sounds like I don't have someone here doing my work for me. So
is that what it seems like? This judge is being a little. I don't want to cast aspersions on the judge. I have no idea.
I don't know how you can justify dismissing 3 entire dockets.
You
of traffic
can't.
citations.
That's the thing. Unless she was trying to push this conversation forward, this judge might be so ticked that she's like, okay, then this is what I'm going to do, and she dismisses them. It gets in the news. Courtney Johnston responds, and one of the things that Courtney Johnston said to, I think it was Channel 4, was, I'm calling this out because we need to figure this out because we've got these damn judges here who are doing this and costing the city a lot of revenue. And Courtney Johnston is on the front lines of all of this because she's watching in real time as on Metro Council as we have all of these businesses that are complaining about the revenue generating property taxes while this judge is throwing revenue away.
5002 brings up a great point. Do they need an attorney present to prosecute the cases if the officer is unable to attend? Based on how I've been treated, whoever wrote the ticket needs to be there, because I've had instances where I've had a cop write me a ticket. I go to the court date. He didn't. And the judge says, we're going to reset this. And I said, no, I can't reset this. He wasn't here to back up what he had to say. I'm going to tell you I didn't speed. You're not going to have any evidence to the contrary. And so I was able to talk my way into a dismissal of the ticket.
I think in California, the rap was that if you showed up for traffic court and the cop didn't, then it was automatically you got out of it.
Yeah.
I think that's what it was in California.
Think about the volume in California compared to a place like Nashville. You're talking Los Angeles, probably like you're going to have thousands of officers writing tens of thousands of tickets, a year.
Yep.
And you're going to have some fall through the cracks because of scheduling conflicts. They get notified that they've got a court date, but now maybe they were working an investigation for a murder case and they've got to go testify in that in another courtroom.
The funny thing is we like in California, and I know that in Tennessee, particularly in Nashville, so we no longer need attorneys in the courtroom, but I guarantee you we need interpreters. Like,
oh my gosh.
Can you imagine in California how many interpreters they have to have in the court? Because you have Korean, you got like Mandarin, you've got obviously Spanish that people speak. I can't even. And then do you need attorneys that speak all those different languages?
So in
can you imagine?
I know we spent the whole segment on this, but I've actually got a fun anecdote about that. I was privy one time to an arraignment for a murder case. Young lady who was Cambodian was charged with first-degree murder, and they had to wheel in a 60-inch. They have these special monitors now that have a camera in them, and so basically you get on a Skype call with an state-approved translator, and so it's a three-way conversation in this courtroom between the judge, the defense attorney, and the Cambodian translator. I couldn't remember the exact dialect of what language, but we're all just kind of sitting there in this rural courthouse, kind of looking at each other, going, "She's also like tiny. She's like 4'10", and apparently she had just popped off on her boyfriend and shot him in cold blood and killed him."
Oh.
And we're just all kind of, okay, this is fascinating where our tax dollars go to these particular instances of translating. I didn't know we had Cambodian translators on demand.
Yeah. Let's see here. 9455, the cops seldom show. 2260 from the 323, which is an LA area code. Accurate for LA traffic tickets. Okay, so that apparently is still the policy in Los Angeles. 5542, revenue generation, not a good reason to give tickets.
Facts.
Fact check true. I got a lot of people that are, I can't read all of these, but apparently people feel very passionate about this. Thank you.
I like the way that this has been put by 5294. Defund the police one docket at a time. I mean, we're more concerned about marking what businesses on Broadway are LGBTQ plus IA double two sign whatever safe.
Yeah,
as we are to, and we have a real problem when it comes to especially the youth in Nashville and the way they treat their vehicles. Out in Antioch, South Nashville, they go crazy with the street races.
Oh, sure,
they're doing all sorts of stunts.
They shut down the streets, the whole thing.
Mm-hmm. And it's deadly, and people will get killed if it's not intervened, and people are properly ticketed and have their licenses suspended and their insurance rates driven up to where they think, hey, maybe I shouldn't, take up all of Nolensville Road doing donuts.
All right, got to go. It is 7:23 on Super Talk 99.7. Joan has the news coming up at 7:30. Joan.
Yeah, the company behind the data center at Nashville Zoo wants to strike a compromise. We'll tell you what the zoo had to say about that coming up at 7:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
$7:23 on Super Talk 99.7. And yeah, times are tough. Absolutely, I agree. Now, if you need a new truck or a minivan, maybe an SUV, mid-10 Ford, they can help you out with great selection, terrific pricing as well. Mid-10 Ford, I know that you've heard of them. They've been around for 56 years, since 1969, helping people get the vehicle that is right for them. Now, right now, Mid-10 Ford, they can help you save $1,000 or more on select Ford trucks. They also offer special financing as well if you need it. Now, Mid-10 Ford, I like to say that they're a one-stop shop. You can buy your vehicle there at Mid-10 Ford. You can get it serviced. They have a body shop as well. So you want a brand new or a pre-owned vehicle, you can check out all of the great deals at their website, mid10fordtrucks.com. That's mid10fordtrucks.com. They offer low-pressure sales, maximum customer service if you show up at their business, 1319 Foster Avenue. This is a family-owned business going back 4 generations. So, yeah, they do know how to treat customers. So let them help you get into your next vehicle. Again, low-pressure sales, maximum customer service. Find them online, mid10fordtrucks.com. That's mid10fordtrucks.com. Let their family take care of your family.
Good morning, 7:30 now. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. The board of directors for the Nashville Zoo has rejected a proposal from DC Blocks that would have changed their data center plans to quell the uproar. News 2's Kendall Ashman.
According to the zoo, the proposal would have let DC Blocks build a 69,000 square foot data center while eliminating the proposal for a bigger facility and returning some of the land to the zoo.
Now, the board's rejection, unanimous. News 2 reports that DC Blocks is already closed on that property, but Nashville Metro Mayor Freddie O'Connell is working on imposing eminent domain on the property, saying it would benefit growth from the Nashville International Airport. In Memphis, the woman accused of shooting to death the man she found hiding under her child's bed in the middle of the night has posted bond. Here's Kendra Scott's lawyer.
To expect anybody to be able to act in a cool, calm manner, premeditate any sort of action, is just unrealistic.
Kendra Scott told police that she came home and, quoted, saw a dude under my kid's bed and I did what I had to do. Well, the man is said to have been invited into the home by her child. Scott shot the man in the back of the head after he had gone outside. And a Southwest Airlines flight attendant arrested by ICE agents while at work. Lorenzo Thompson is a Jamaican illegal alien who came to the U.S. on a 6-month work visa in 2021. He overstayed that visa, failed to depart. Well, DHS says he's in ICE custody now, pending immigration proceedings. Apparently, he didn't have to show ID to get on a plane. That's the latest news, traffic, and weather next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
Middle of July, heading into August, friends. If you feel like you still need some work to be bathing suit ready, check out my friends at Contours. They use FDA-cleared red light technology to contour your body and help you lose that fat. Red light technology, of course, all the rage. They are the original body contouring spa here in Middle Tennessee, and 5 years of results tell you that this works. Now, they've got state-of-the-art technology that is going to help you lose at least 2 inches across the belly in that first treatment, or it is free. Both Matt Murphy and I have tried it, many others as well. And yeah, it does work. It can work on your body. And this red light technology can also help diminish the wrinkles on your face. So check out Contours today. They've got a great deal going on right now. The first 10 callers get that Belly Buster special for just $99. That's right. First 10 callers to this phone number right now, 615-236-9960. You get that first session for just $99, a very special price. And by the way, you can also opt for the Belly Buster special and a facial, both for just $149. Listeners to my show get all the great deals. 615-236-9960. Call right now. Find them online, contoursllc.com.
No problems to speak of, no major problems to speak of. It looks like 24 is backed up in all the usual spots, and the same thing coming in from the north. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
$7:36, Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Super Text line is open, 615-737-9986, 615-737-WWTN. You know, earlier we were talking about the LPRs and the flock cameras and all of that. A lot of people asking how they can find the interview that I did with Hans von Spakovsky. And we're going to go ahead and podcast that. It was a great interview talking about the constitutionality of all of that. And so if you, I don't know if it's already podcast, but you want to check it out after the show, because right now we've got Courtney Johnston, Metro City Council is on with us. Courtney, always great to have you on. How are you this morning?
I'm good. How are you?
I am good. All right. So you sort of alerted the city yesterday with this Facebook post where you called out a Davidson County judge, this is Judge Robin Kimbrough Hayes, for dismissing traffic tickets. We're going to get into the particulars. We just did kind of a segment on it, but how many traffic tickets do we know that were ultimately dismissed in these 3 different dockets?
I don't have that exact information. I'm looking at 2 of the dockets. They sent me 3, but one of them was a duplication. And so I'm going through that actually right now. I should have done it yesterday and I didn't. So I don't know the exact numbers, and it's not entire. There's some that were sent off to circuit court, very few. Most of them were blanket retired. And they are things I'm looking through here: careless driving, texting while driving, running a red light, reckless driving. I don't know what the difference between careless driving and reckless driving is, but I'm sure there's a difference. So there's several moving violations there that are going on. Some parking, but we've got to texting while driving. We've got to get this under control. We can't just continue to have these dockets, blanket retired like this.
Okay, right. So let's get down into the nitty gritty. So apparently, Judge Robin Kimbrough Hayes has decided that she is not happy that Metro Legal will not have an attorney in her courtroom. Now, this was an attorney that would be representing the county or the city and their side of things. And so people come in. And I guess my question is, what function would this attorney be providing to the judge? And now we're able to be, having to do without this judge. I mean, how big of a deal is this for the function of her courtroom? Because it just sounds like she's being a little pissy. I'm just going to be honest. The judge.
Well, let's go back. I'm going to give you a little bit of history, because before 2008, Metro Legal never staffed the traffic court. The reason they started in 2008 is because we had some judges that were fixing tickets and in large mass. So it was becoming a pretty serious problem. And so they've just stayed there. And then, so this year, a couple weeks ago, Metro Legal advised the court and MNPD that they would no longer be staffing because it's not necessary. The only reason they were there was to make sure that judges weren't doing funny things like they were in 2008. So when that announcement came out, Judge Kimbrough Hayes went to the AOC, which is the Administrative Office of the Courts, and they advised that, quote, judges must have sufficient proof before them in order to adjudicate a matter, and they cannot play the role of party in the litigation, meaning they can't be the prosecutor, and they have to have evidence in front of them. Well, the evidence in front of them is the police officer.
Okay.
So just like anywhere else you go, if you get a ticket in Williamson County, you're going to go to that traffic court, and there's not going to be an attorney there that's representing the city of Franklin or the county. You're going to have the officer there. If the officer is not there, that stands to me to be grounds for retiring or dismissing. Absolutely, because you have nothing there to prosecute against you. The judge in this case is not a prosecutor. The judge is the judge. And so, to me, it's a misinterpretation of this opinion from AOC, not Alexander.
Right? No, not Alexander Ocasio-Cortez. Yes, exactly.
And Metro Legal believes that it's a misinterpretation of that opinion. And so, my point here, though, is when you have disputing opinions about something like this, the way to handle it is not just dismiss and in mass all these citations, especially when we have. You were talking earlier. I heard you talking about revenue. It's not just revenue, which I'm less worried about, to be honest with you. We have issues on our roads. One of the largest complaints that I get is about speeding through our neighborhoods, and the streets aren't safe, yada, yada. We have pedestrian deaths. We were talking about Vision Zero. Then, not to mention all of the money that we're paying these officers, because it's multiple officers that are showing up to court because they are the evidence. And so a lot of times we're paying them overtime to sit there, and then for it to just be dismissed. So not only was writing the ticket a waste of time for them, and so it's a little demoralizing that what they did for their job was just dismissed, but also we're paying them to end up with an outcome that is just not proper. And so let's sit down is my point. And so when I heard about this last week, that's what I was told was happening. Metro Legal is they're on the road to figuring this out. Okay, great, because I heard about it, made a couple phone calls. Yes, this is happening. I said, well, are y'all figuring it out? Yes, we're figuring it out. Okay, great. Keep me posted. And so then, this week I get a call. Well, it has not been. And just today there was a third docket that was dismissed. And I was like, okay, well, if y'all can't handle it, I'm going to handle it my way, because I don't have any jurisdiction over judges and really over Metro Legal, but I can shine some sunlight on it and maybe force a conversation so that we can come to a resolution that is reasonable and lawful.
Do you think that Judge Kimbrough was trying to do the same thing? Shine some light. She's obviously irritated that there's no there's no attorney in her courtroom. So do you think that's what she's trying to do too? Is like, okay, watch this.
Well, and she's not the actual judge, so she's, I want to say, I'm going to get this terminology wrong. She's the presiding judge over General Sessions. I think presiding is the right word. So she's essentially the boss. There are judges underneath her that handle this. And in fact, traffic court is kind of a pain. And so they'll bring retired judges back in just to do these dockets, from what I'm told. And so I think it's less that she's irritated by it. Maybe she is. I just think it's a out and out misinterpretation of what the administrative office of the courts is saying. They're saying the judge can't be the prosecutor. The judge has to have enough evidence in order to make a ruling. Okay. Well, if the officer is there, because the defendant there doesn't necessarily have an attorney. I don't know how many people walk in with a traffic ticket with an attorney. That doesn't happen. So they're unrepresented, quote unquote. So you have the evidence because you have the officer there. The judge is not playing the role of prosecutor. The judge is still the judge. And this is common. What's uncommon is to have an attorney sitting there, like you guys pointed out earlier. So you can't say, oh, you have to have it. Well, then, so all these other municipalities, probably 90+% of these municipalities are operating outside the boundaries of the law because they don't have an attorney there to represent the city or the whatever the municipality is. That's bonkers. No.
Okay. Since you put out this information, has there been any, I know that you're on TV last night, you're on radio, of course, this morning. Is there any progress in getting this whole thing figured out?
So today will be one of my first phone calls is to call and get an update. And I've been dealing with my contacts through MNPD, who deals with, the police officers that are going to court and all that. If I have to reach out to the contact in Metro Legal, I will. I try to limit my interference with them, right. But if I have to, I will. So I will find out later today, and I'll text you an update so that you can update everybody.
Cool. Can I ask you some zoo questions in a moment?
I knew you were going to do it, Dan.
I know. I can't help myself. All right, yes. real quick, let me check traffic. 15 seconds on WTN. As far as weather today, a cloudy 85, Saturday cloudy 85, Sunday hotter, humid, and a high of 92. Courtney Johnston, Metro Council, is joining us. All right, so there seems to have been some progress with the zoo versus the data center possibly being built next to the zoo. So apparently now the zoo has rejected DC Blocks' proposal to build that 69,000 square foot data center. Now, remember, and you told me this, Courtney, when this whole thing first began, that it was more than just one data center. There were plans for other expansions on the site as well. So I guess the two sides have been negotiating. In the news today is that the zoo had said no thanks to the data center's proposal. After this rejection, where does all this go next?
Well, so that was outside of the legislative process. That would have been a personal, private party agreement between the two. So really the process stays the same way that it would. So my moratorium passed, and I made an amendment to that moratorium to extend beyond the passage of Bill 1391, which was the definition of data center and the policy. And so that moratorium will go until December the 1st to allow for the executive order to play out. We have some reports due from departments about the impact on their departments specifically. So NDOT, Metro Water, Health Department, all of those types of things on August the 15th. And we anticipate having some legislative necessities to respond to those reports. And then also, me personally, I think that we have some refining work to do on 1391. It was a good start. It started off bad. We've gotten to decent, but we need to be really good. And because we've got just some loopholes and things, it was done very, very quickly. And I understand and was supportive of getting something done quickly. I typically am not, but this case is an exception.
Well, yeah, you guys, this was like, you had to act quickly because DC Blocks had already purchased the land.
Right. And so that was what made the moratorium even more important, which was, okay, now we have something on the books, and we also have another, 4 or 5 months or so to do better. And so, and I also pushed out our administrative appeal. So I appealed. It's getting complicated now, but so an item A appeal was filed by myself and by the zoo's legal representation. And so that is going to be paused as well. So we will be on the December or January docket at the BZA. I'm not sure.
So here's what I see as far as the regulations go. Is this what you're talking about? No data center can be larger than 500,000 square feet. Limit to where they can be located. They cannot be near homes, parks, or schools, perhaps other things as well. This does not apply to DC Blocks, though, because they'd already bought the land. Am I understanding that correctly?
Correct. Okay. And so that's where the appeal comes in. So you can't start a process with certain rules at play and then in the middle of the process change the rules of the game on someone. You can't do that.
Okay.
But you can appeal a zoning administrator's determination of land use classification, which is what I'm doing and which is what the zoo's attorney is doing. That would negate this building permit and make them start over. And at that point, the policy that you're talking about would be in play. And because of that, and because of the rules in there about proximity to specifically zoos, this parcel would not qualify to have that land use.
Wow, that's pretty good. Make him go back and redo the whole thing? Yeah, I see what you're doing.
Yeah. So the appeal is incredibly important, and we've got two ways to go there. There's a question of vesting rights here. Certainly DC Blocks and their attorneys believe that they are vested. I do not believe that they are vested. The zoo's attorney does not believe that they are vested. There's plenty of people that don't believe that they are vested. And so that's going to 100% be played out in court, no question about it. So if this is not over for sure. And then of course we've got the eminent domain bill that is still at play. We're coming up on third reading, first meeting in August, and so that's obviously an interesting thing. I have definitely had some concerns about that. But so we'll discuss all of that. I haven't had a chance to speak with we just confirmed our new legal director, 3 days ago. And so I want to meet with her and see what she thinks about this eminent domain, because it would be her office at that point that will be tasked with defending that position. So I want to talk with her before I make a determination, which is why I abstained. I was leaning no, because I feel like that would be a massive lawsuit, looking at what DC Blocks is looking to do on that property. And the way that DC Blocks typically works is they build these things out and then they sell them to an end user. That's how they make their money. And it's a lot of money. And so, it seems to me that they would probably sue us for that amount of money, because they've purchased this property believing that they had the right to do it. That right has been stripped away, or eminent domain would have taken it from them. And so also took away that revenue from them, that profit from them, and that's what they would sue for. And it is 9 figures. And that's the last thing that this city needs, is to get into that type of litigation, not only because it would take forever and the legal fees, but the settlement itself, should we lose. And that's my main concern. I want it to be true. Right. I think that would, wouldn't that be great to be able to save our zoo? Like, oh, eminent domain. But we also can't set the precedent that, well, the government doesn't like what you're doing on your property, so we're going to take your property.
Can I ask this? Has anybody looked at the Nashville real estate portfolio and said, there's this property over here that we can give you a good deal on? Like, has anybody looked at maybe some alternate sites?
Well, that's my point, which is, so eminent domain is not, can I use this property? Eminent domain is, I have to use this specific property.
Right.
So what is this specific property? What about it is there a necessity to take? And typically, eminent domain is, we're doing an interstate through here. Well, that's the common good. We have to use this property because it connects the interstate, or those types of things. It's a geographic necessity.
Right. But is there?
If we can prove that,
right? Let's
talk about it.
Is there any other land that DC Blocks can buy that is not near the zoo?
DC Blocks.
Yeah.
I have not looked at that. I'm probably so, I don't know. And people ask me that all the time, and it's like, well, but I'm not their real estate agent.
Correct.
Wouldn't that be great if I was? Yes, I don't know. Okay. And now, especially that we've got these new regulations, you have to look at the buffers that we've put into place. So there are several parcels that would not be appropriate anymore and not legal. So, I don't know. What I know is there is huge concern, as we all do, about having this large, and you're right, the building permit that they've applied for right now is for one 69,200 square foot, 10 megawatt facility, and certainly, all the backup generators, yada, yada. But that's literally peanuts in comparison to the rest of the plan that they articulated when they applied for their grading permit, and I got my hands on that. 3-story, 40 megawatt. So in totality, a 50 megawatt center there. That's a pretty large center.
Yeah. All right. Well, it's the battle goes on, I guess. Will you keep us updated on that too?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
All right, Courtney Johnson, have a great weekend, and we'll talk to you again soon. It is 7:55 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN, and Save Our Zoo. We should put that on like a hashtag, Joan.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Save Our Zoo. Instead of SOS, it's SOZ. All right.
Perfect, Dan. Just perfect.
Moving right along. Joan, what's coming up in the news at 8?
Yeah, President Trump is returning to the scene of the crime in Washington, D.C. That's coming up at 8 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
See, I thought Save Our Zoo was kind of catchy.
Yeah.
It's a lot better than Save Our Clouded Leopard.
Well, that's true. But the SOZ part, yeah. I don't,
Whatever. All right. Thanks for the support there, Joan.
no problem.
All right, I'm just kidding. It's 7:56 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Dan Mandis here in Nashville's Morning News. The free O-Site Day on Saturday, August 8th at the Glock store. Be there or miss out on a lot of cool stuff. It is going to be really, really amazing. Now, at this free O-Site Optic Day on Saturday the 8th, you're going to get your hands on range time, great O-Site giveaways, and exclusive indoor discounts as well, food trucks, and a whole lot more. Now, you've heard about these O-Site optics, right? The new ones. They are incredible. The reviews have been really, really positive. Now, you can check them out for yourself, again, on Saturday, August 8th, at the Glock store. It all begins at 9 a.m. It's going to go till 6 p.m., so save the date. Again, it is coming up Saturday, August 8th at the Glock store. Now, you know the Glock store. It is where I still go for all my guns, my ammo, and my training as well. Check them out today, glockstore.com, shoot270.com. The Glock store, minutes from the airport and worth the drive from anywhere. You know, we always worry about our mortality, right? You know, every time we get an ache or a pain, we worry about what's really going on with our bodies. Well, don't wonder and worry. Take charge of your health and find out for sure with Kraft Body Scan. Now, they can tell you what's really going on inside, you know, things like cancer and heart disease. They can really creep up on you, and it's really sinister. So you need to be vigilant about knowing that you're okay and not just hoping you're okay, because you want to be around for your kids and your grandkids. Now, I've been telling you about my dad, who sadly didn't pay close enough attention, and he passed away from a massive heart attack 6 months before his first grandchild was born. That's why I feel so passionate about what they do at Kraft Body Scan. These scans can literally be lifesavers, and right now they're offering our listeners their couples heart and lung scan, valued at over $2,500 for just $99. To take advantage of it, go to togetherwescan.com, togetherwescan.com, promo code Dan50, call them 615-436-1000, and do not forget that great deal Kraft Body Scan offering our listeners their couples heart and lung scan, valued at $2,500 for just $99. Togetherwescan.com, promo code Dan50.
Good morning, 8:01. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. President Trump returns to the stage tonight to deliver remarks at the rescheduled White House Correspondents' Dinner at the Waldorf Astoria. It was in April that a gunman stormed into the annual banquet in a bid to kill the president and members of his cabinet. Secret Service Director Sean Curran on the threat level to his protectees.
Numbers are numbers at this agency, and certainly I have never seen in my 24-year career. They're off the charts. I think the environment has become very volatile. Right now, we have an advance team there, and they will take back and they will set up a plan to set that site up for success.
Now, fewer guests this time around. The White House Correspondents Association says the dinner is not only an opportunity to carry out the program, it'll be a statement that violence has no place in American life and a free press will not be intimidated into silence. A 40-year-old Nashville man arrested and charged with statutory rape after an investigation into a so-called sexual relationship with a 16-year-old boy. Here's News 2's Bob Mueller.
Metro Police say Sean Medley was arrested at an apartment on Brick Church Pike today. He was reported to police after Medley shared inappropriate photos of the boy with another man. The teen's mother confirmed the two had been dating for the last 6 months.
Yeah, you heard that right. The boy's mom told police that the 40-year-old man and her 16-year-old son met on a dating app and they have been dating. Medley was charged with aggravated statutory rape and especially aggravated sexual exploitation of a minor. The White House plans to push non-compliant states to turn over their voter rolls. Assistant Attorney General Harmeet Dillon says she's going to take the effort to purge non-citizens from the voter rolls to the Supreme Court. And she tells Fox Business that New Jersey is one of those states.
Now, since the governor made this announcement, we've opened up an investigation. We asked her to disclose to us the names of the 6,600 individuals who were wrongfully put on the voter rolls and then the 400 who voted knowing that they weren't entitled to. And today she hasn't responded to us yet, but she did tell the New York Times and others that she wasn't going to give us that information because, quote unquote, we would weaponize it and she doesn't trust us with the data. Well, who can't be trusted with data, Governor Cheryl? It seems like it's actually New Jersey.
Now, Dillon says so far the investigation has uncovered hundreds of thousands of people on voter rolls in 20 states who shouldn't have been there. And the Trump administration filing a lawsuit against Colorado for allowing illegal immigrants to qualify for discounted in-state tuition and financial aid. The Justice Department arguing Colorado offers benefits to undocumented students or illegals that aren't available to all U.S. citizens. A spokesperson for Governor Jared Polis's office calls it the lawsuit absurd. Money News brought to you by Beacon Capital Management, online at beaconcm.com. Stocks could make a bit of a recovery here. The Dow futures right now are plus 155. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News. Mount View Road in Antioch, there's a crash at Crossings Boulevard. And also check it out in Gaylord Springs. There is a blockage due to power lines down on Pennington Bend Road in both directions at Valley Bend Road. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.807 Nationals Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Good morning to your friends. Hope you are doing well and welcome on in to a Friday. You know, we always talk about the tenets of conservatism and what conservatism really means and what really is the backbone to conservatism. I have always said that obviously there's the Constitution, but one of the things that is so incredibly important to our nation, our country, our society, is the family. And there is an organization that is near and dear to my heart. They're called the Eagle Forum here in Tennessee. Bobby Petray, my good friend Bobby Petray, is the leader here in Middle Tennessee for the Eagle Forum. But at the national level, Chris Ullman is the president of Eagle Forum. She joins us on the line. Chris, thank you for having us and for being here. One of the things that the Eagle Forum does, and you've been doing it for decades now, is you have an event every single year. And this year, your big event is being held right here in Middle Tennessee for the first time. Usually you do it, I guess it's in Washington, D.C., or I think, is it Missouri, the other state that, yeah, okay. But now you've decided to have your big function here in Middle Tennessee. I love this. I'm very pro-family. Eagle Forum is an incredibly pro-family organization. First of all, briefly, before we get into the event, talk about the history of Eagle Forum, because it is amazing, especially if you're a conservative.
Thank you so much, Dan, and it's such an honor to be on in Tennessee with you this morning. I'm the president of the National Eagle Forum, and we do have chapters in about half the states, and of course Tennessee. Miss Bobby Petray is our fearless leader there. And Eagle Forum was started back in 1972 by our fearless leader, Phyllis Schlafly, who died about a decade ago now. And she started it. It grew out of the anti-equal rights amendment movement. But once she had done that and seen what a powerful thing grassroots activity is to change our political process, to actually have a voice and make your voice heard and be listened to, she expanded the organization to cover all kinds of conservative and pro-family issues that she had been personally working on for decades. So traditionally, we have always held our conference either in St. Louis, where Phyllis was from, or in D.C. For 53 years, we've gone back and forth between those two cities. And this year we said, Phyllis has been gone a decade. Let's look and find a city in a state that is upholding conservative values, that is making waves across the nation. And of course, that is Nashville, Tennessee. There's no better place for us to hold our conference this year than in Nashville, which the rest of the United States, I don't know if you guys realize it, we look at you as the state that's making things happen.
Well, that's what we love to hear. And I got to tell you, by the way, this event is happening September 24th and 25th. We'll get into some of the details. Chris, one of the things that I love, though, about Eagle Forum, just to let you know, is obviously the focus on family values. But, you also have part of your mission statement to teach the younger generation about conservatism, because let's be honest, family values are being attacked every single day. So talk a little bit about that aspect of Eagle Forum.
You know, it is so important that we pass on our beliefs to our children. And so education has always been one of our top issues, but also equipping parents and then dealing directly with students. So we have something called Student Eagles, and Student Eagles are young people basically from the ages around 14 to 21, where they have programming that we help to teach them the fundamentals of our Constitution, what it means to be a free people, to have destiny over your own life and personal responsibility, and what you can do to impact your community, most importantly at the local level. You know, young people are such a backbone to our communities, and if we can train them up in the way they should go, if we can get those great American values in them at a young age, and they understand the beauty of our system, the beauty of entrepreneurship, the beauty of our government in upholding the Constitution, they will grow up to be fantastic citizens throughout their whole life. So we actually have a special rate for students who come to our conference. And we also have a number of Student Eagle chapters, especially in Tennessee and in Alabama and in Georgia. And again, we invite all those students to come with us on September 24th through 26th there in Nashville.
One of the things that I've noticed, I've been hosting talk shows for many years here in Nashville too, is that the threats against the family, they're actually getting worse. Things are getting, it feels like to me anyway, things are getting worse, not better. Would you agree with that?
Well, in some ways, we see the pendulum swing back and forth. Obviously, on the issue of the trans issue, again, we're going to have Tennessee AG Jonathan Skrmetti talk about his fantastic work protecting children from this gender mutilation, drugs and surgeries, and everything he did and the state of Tennessee did. And so that's a positive thing that we're looking at. But if conservatives lose control of government, the snapback is going to be terrible. Not only are we going to see things like trans coming after our kids, the devolution of parental rights in education and healthcare, we're going to see, a rise in taxation and a rise in losing our ability to control our medical system. We're also seeing threats, from things like AI. We're going to be talking about that at our conference as well. What are data centers? What are they doing? And who's collecting information on our personal lives, and how are they using that? And what as we as citizens can do to fight back against that, to maintain our privacy, because that's part of our liberty.
Chris Ullman is National President, Eagle Forum. And Chris, I've got 15 seconds for traffic. Then we are going to get into specifics on what is going to be happening, including one speaker I'm actually really excited about. Details straight ahead. Time to check the roads on WTN. All right, very good. As far as your weather goes for this weekend, it's going to be nice, cloudy and a high of 85. Saturday, cloudy, 85. Sunday, hotter, humid, and a high of 92. Gordon Chang, Chris Ullman, is going to be there at your event. So, folks, if you don't know who he is, I've interviewed him many times here on WTN and elsewhere. He's been on Fox News. I think he was from Heritage Foundation. Foreign policy expert, very conservative, very schooled on China. So I'm looking forward to Gordon Chang. And, of course, you mentioned, Chris, that Jonathan Skrmetti, Tennessee Attorney General, also is going to be one of the many speakers there. So talk a little bit about the speakers and what they'll be presenting and what folks can look forward to.
Thank you so much. Well, at Eagle Forum, we believe that just about every issue touches on the family. So we are a pro-family organization, but we don't just talk about abortion and education. We are going to have Gordon Chang. He has spoken, oh my gosh, at too many of our conferences. I can't even count how many, but he is a dear, dear friend of Eagle Forum. And he is going to talk about communist China's threat. And, it's growing every day. I don't even know exactly what he's going to talk about this year because there's so many threats when it comes to China. I don't know what he's going to focus on, but he is going to focus on that. We're going to have Daniel DiMartino, who's going to talk about the warnings about socialism. And he's from Venezuela, and he understood that growing up in Venezuela and the attack on young people's minds from ideologies like socialism. We're also going to be talking about abortion, and we have one of the leading scholars and activists on the abortion pill, a man by the name of Mark Wheat, who 20, 30 years ago was on the congressional committee that first looked into mifepristone, and he's going to be giving us the entire history and then what we can do to fight that. We're also going to be talking, as I said, about AI data centers, their impact on farmland, and also how should AI deal with a human person. I'm really excited about Katie Faust. Katie Faust is from Washington State, and she leads a group called Them Before Us, and she focuses on the needs of the child. Every child should have the right to their mother and father. So she speaks against surrogacy, really for when it comes to this trans movement and the LGBTQ, how we have to protect children in all of that. So I'm super excited that she's going to join us. And we're having Eric Metaxas. Hopefully your listeners know who Eric is. He is a phenomenal writer, speaker, and this is America 250, and we want to celebrate our legacy and our future. So Eric Metaxas is going to be our Friday night dinner speaker. He's going to be talking about his new book, Revolution, and that follows our trip to the Hermitage. Because we're coming to Nashville for the very first time, we decided to take everybody on Friday afternoon to the Hermitage. Francis Arthur, who's our leader of our Student Eagles, is going to prepare the entire crowd for what they're going to see at the Hermitage and what they should know about Andrew Jackson. And so that's our little tribute to America 250, the trip to the Hermitage, and then having Eric Metaxas just give us a real boost in the arm about why America's great, why you should be involved in helping to keep America great, and just the love that we should all have for our nation.
Chris, real quick, it's September 24th through the 26th. How can people get tickets?
Well, they can go to eagleforum.org, and there's a button right on our homepage that says Eagle Council 54. It's our 54th conference, and we do have a discount for students. We also have a discount if you sign up in groups of 10 or more. And if you think, wow, I'd love to come, and I can only come for that Friday night speaker, we do have right now, and they could sell out, but we do have some extra dinner tickets for the banquets and things like that if you can't make the whole thing. But if you can, we encourage you to come because it's a jam-packed. We have a reception Thursday night, and then Friday and all day Saturday, it's just jam-packed with wonderful, wonderful speakers. Go on eagleforum.org to learn all about all the different speakers we're going to have and just learn what you can do to really re-energize our nation and stand up for those conservative values that we share together.
It all comes from the family. Chris Oldman, thank you very much for joining us, Eagle Forum National President, and maybe I'll see you there.
Oh, Dan, I would love it. I really hope to meet you.
All right, we'll talk to you soon. And by the way, if you can't make it to the actual event, check out Eagle Forum anyway, because they do a great work. All right, it is 8:20 on Super Talk 99.7. WTN Super Text line is open, 615-737-9986, 615-737-WWTN. Joan's got the news coming up at 8:30. Joan.
Yeah, it's round 2 of the global tariffs. We'll tell you how the White House plans to get around a Supreme Court ruling on it. It's coming up at 8:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Dan Med is here for my friends at the Covered Patio. Warmer weather means you want to spend more time outside. So if you want to add more living space to your home, think about building or upgrading your patio. Now, they've got motorized screens so that you can easily keep the patio open when you want some sun and closed when you want some shade. So your back screened-in porch becomes a lot more enjoyable. They've got a ton of outdoor living options with motorized screens, patio covers, custom wooden decks, and outdoor structures. At the covered patio, they've got a ton of options with styles for every budget and taste. Now, the covered patio is dedicated to fair prices and customized solutions for your specific home and your specific space. So enjoy your home a lot more with an incredible patio upgrade from the covered patio. Call them, tell them Dan Mandis told you to reach out. That phone number is 615-695-2407, 615-695-2407. Online, thecoveredpatio.com, thecoveredpatio.com. $8:23 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN Window Nation. Listen, before you go out and you spend a whole bunch of money on a new AC, check out your windows first, because Drafty Windows, well, they can force your AC to work overtime. New windows from Window Nation, they can help keep your home comfortable and reduce the strain on your HVAC. And again, the pros at Window Nation, they can make it happen. They can get new energy-efficient windows at a great price for you. You mentioned my name. You could get 50% off all window styles. You could get 0 down payment and no payments or interest for 2 years. Now, you know that I've got 4 Window Nation windows in my home. They've got an A+ rating from the Better Business Bureau, and yours truly, 96% customer satisfaction rating and over 45,000 5-star reviews. So check them out online, windownation.com. And again, tell them Dan told you to reach out. You're going to get that great price. 50% off all window styles, 0 down payment, and no payments or interest for 2 years. Find them online, windownation.com. That's windownation.com. $8:26 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN, 615-737-9986, 615-737-WWTN. So you want to do a little bit of flock camera discussion, Joan?
Oh, sure.
So earlier we had Hans von Spakovsky on, huge reaction to the interview with him, talking about the constitutionality of flock cameras. And a lot of people say it's unconstitutional. We really don't know yet. It hasn't reached the Supreme Court as of yet, because this is a lot different than what the Fourth Amendment originally was talking about. And when the Supreme Court said that there's no expectation of privacy if you're out, in the streets and so forth, they weren't talking about what is happening with these flock cameras, which ultimately, and I know that Chris has been talking about this a lot, but, these flock cameras, in case you missed it, well, they can figure out not only where you've been, but ultimately, with the AI involved and all that, they can figure out where you're going to be. And so this is some very scary technology. Mm-hmm. That's number one. Number two, I was talking about this situation where there is a woman. You have what I would say, and I'm a big supporter of the police, but this video, very a scary situation where there's a woman who was accused by a belligerent police officer, if I say so myself, who was being accused by this cop because of these flock cameras, and her car was caught on these flock cameras. She was being accused of being a porch pirate.
We have cameras everywhere in that town. You can't get a breath of fresh air in or out without us knowing.
Chrisana Elzer learned the power of flock firsthand.
You were in town from 11:52 until 12:09. Exactly. Like I said, nothing gets in or out of the town without us knowing.
When a Colorado police officer showed up at her door holding flock snapshots of her truck.
I mean, I'm going to tell you, this guy's being kind of a jerk. And he thinks that he's got her because he's got her on the flock cameras. That doesn't mean anything, Joan.
Yeah.
Here's more.
And here's when you left at 12:09. That's when you left town.
To get...
No, to stop at Ridge Trail.
Wait a minute.
And take a package. Well, there's no shushing. I don't need to be...
Yes, there is. I need to know where this is.
The first thing he pulled out on the body cam is that flock picture, the clear photograph of your car.
But here's your vehicle in the neighborhood many, many times, apparently casing houses, because you just can't drive through for work or visit other businesses.
Yeah, this cop, I mean, he was absolutely certain. You heard him say, we 100% have you dead to rights on being a porch pirate. Ultimately, it turns out she was innocent.
You can only be casing houses.
It is her. It is 100%. It is locked in. There is zero doubt. I wouldn't have come here unless I was 100% sure. 100%. It is certain. It is on video. You're obviously welcome to go to court.
Chrisana was charged with stealing a package, but it wasn't her. The porch pirate was somebody else.
And somebody else, by the way, who
That's infuriating.
Kind of looks like her. But isn't he being obnoxious?
Yeah, he's being very obnoxious. And if he's this obnoxious over this, can you imagine what he's like in other areas of his job?
Yeah. Well, and the bottom line is that, part of the worry of flock cameras is this, okay, so just because her car was in an area doesn't mean that it was her.
Right.
As a matter of fact, it looks like another woman, this woman, for people listening on the radio, this woman is blonde and, she looks thin. And I guess the person who was the actual porch pirate maybe drove a similar car. So it looks like her, same car, but it turns out it was not her, despite the fact that the cop was 100% absolutely certain he wouldn't have shown up at her house if he wasn't 100% certain that it was her, and it wasn't. It is 8:30, Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Good morning, 8:30. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. Well, it's getting a little testy between the White House and the Senate over the Save America Act. Senate Majority Leader John Thune firing back at Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt after she told reporters yesterday that President Trump's patience is running out over the Senate's inability to move the Save America Act.
She or somebody else ought to get on the phone and get the votes. Right? It's 50 around here. And so instead of, pointing the finger at Republicans, they might think about going after the people who are stopping it on the floor, which is the Democrats.
The Save America Act would require ID to cast a ballot and proof of citizenship to register to vote. It has stalled in the Senate because of the 60-vote filibuster threshold, which Thune is also not willing to get rid of. The Trump administration announcing new tariffs on dozens of countries that began at midnight, ranging from 10 to 12.5%. They're being imposed under Section 301 of the Trade Act of 1974. That targets countries that have failed to prevent forced labor in the workplace. U.S. Trade Representative Jamieson Greer on CNN.
So for over 100 years, the United States has had a law on the books prohibiting the import of goods made with forced labor. This is common sense, and we've enforced this law to prohibit it. What seems like common sense, I think, to you and me, others haven't done. In other countries, no one really has these types of laws, and even in that small handful of countries that have them, they don't really enforce it. And so we have gone to the world frankly, over years and across administrations to try to get other countries to act on this.
So the tariffs cover 60 countries that import 99% of the goods into the USA. And Burger King is taking Have It Your Way to the max. The chain has a new burger. It's a new Whopper guarantee, which says that if you order a burger and it doesn't meet your expectations, they'll remake it on the spot and offer you your next Whopper for free. Now, they do it with a QR code inside the Whopper box. Burger King says it is also introducing a new manager role to greet customers, ensure proper meal prep, and to be available to make things right whenever needed. Money News brought to you by Beacon Capital Management, online at beaconcm.com. And stocks now trading, and it looks like things have opened well for the Dow Jones Industrials. They're up 80 points, but the NASDAQ down 22. S&P 500 index is plus 8 points. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
Dan Mandis here from my friends at DT McCall's. Now, they've been helping out Tennesseans for over 100 years with fair prices and outstanding customer service. Now, right now, they've got great deals on all things electronics and appliances and furniture, lawn and garden equipment, and a whole lot more. In other words, pretty much everything in the store, they've got great prices on and outstanding customer service as well. They've been doing it again for over 100 years, 4 generations of treating people right with a focus on savings. Now, first thing I do when I realize that I need something is I do go to dtmccalls.com. I check out the latest specials, and typically I'll order right from the website. But if I do have to go into the brick and mortar store, I always get the answers that I need to make the right decision. So if you need anything for your home, garage, or your backyard, you only need to go to one place, my place, DT McCall's, 5 locations across Middle Tennessee, Carthage, Cookeville, Lebanon, Lafayette, and Franklin. Always online, dtmccalls.com. That's dtmccalls.com. As always, tell them Dan Mandis told you to reach out.
Antioch on Mount View Road at Crossings Boulevard. Watch for a crash. There's another one on I-40 westbound in Kingston Springs near the Kingston Springs Ashland City exit. And it's blocked in Gaylord Springs on Pennington Bend Road in both directions at Valley Bend Road. They're working on some down power lines. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.837 Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Good morning to your friends. Hope you are doing well. And welcome on into a Friday. That's right, I'm going Friday because not only is it Friday, but we got Brian Wilson here filling in for Chris Hand today. Brian, how are you?
I'm doing very well. Good morning. I hope you guys are having a great day. It's really nice to have just a little bit cooler weather this morning.
My wife is so pissed at you.
Why?
Brian Wilson? Because I'm walking around the house and I'm thumping that bass.
Oh, the bass. Yeah, how did the bass go over?
So this is the stupidity of me in my house. So Brian says, so you folks that don't know, Brian had a big old, Brian garage sale, and he had one particular bass that he didn't sell, and he actually was kind enough to give it to me, and so I picked it up the other day, and I've been walking around the house, and I'm just walking around, and I don't even know how to play this stupid thing, but I'm having fun with it, and I'm sitting there talking to Amy, and she's like irritated because I just keep playing it and I won't stop. And so then I said, okay, so honey, if I'm in a bad mood, I'm going to play this. And I played like a really deep note. And then I said, if I'm in a good mood, I'm going to play this. And I played one of the higher notes. Mm-hmm. She's just looking at me face palming. So she said, I'm about to send a note to Brian and tell him to come get this damn thing.
Well, but Dan, you don't even have an amp yet.
Wait, that's what I told her. I said, you wait till I get an amplifier,
a bass
man.
Guitar, an electric bass guitar, not a stand-up bass. This is electric bass, not an acoustic bass. Mm-hmm. And you don't even have an amplifier yet. And
he also doesn't have a doghouse, so, he'd be sleeping in it if he had that.
Oh, listen, I've got a big old doghouse. It's called my basement. Okay, now you people
that's the first thing I said to you is, here's a nice bass, now go buy an amplifier.
Oh, I know, and a cord and the whole thing.
That's the thing. Music as a hobby, it's more expensive than golf, I'll tell you that.
All right, so people that are watching on Super Talk TV, I'm going to have to describe this, but our friend Lindsay, who is a good friend of the station, and we love Lindsay. So she and her man friend Paul saw a sign that says RAWR, RAWR, and they have purchased this for our own Joan Jones.
Oh, would you look at that?
So they walked into a store and they saw this big sign that says RAWR with an exclamation point, and it is for Joan Jones because apparently that soundbite is become apparently a fan favorite.
I love that. You guys, that is the sweetest thing.
Isn't that
ever.
nice?
I love it.
So,
oh my goodness. Okay, so that's going up in the newsroom for sure.
Yep, that's going to go in the newsroom, and then
after it passes inspection and gets approval.
And then I came in today, and Mike from Mount Pleasant, because this is the guy that makes woodwork for everybody.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
So Mike from Mount Pleasant actually finally made me one, and it says Dan Mandis Show, the man, the myth, the not so legend. So anyway, so I love that. So that'll be going up in my studio at home.
Mandis is a moron in the mornings.
And that too. So anyway,
That
thank
is
you.
awesome.
Oh, and by the way, you know what else Lindsay brought us?
What's that?
Fortune cookies. So I was thinking about, because I'll do anything for a stupid bit.
Yeah.
I was thinking about opening these and then just like smashing them a la Marsha Blackburn. But then, Brian, people would believe that I'm doing that as a sign, of course, that I'm supporting Marsha Blackburn.
Boy, I tell you what, you can't open your mouth on that gubernatorial race without stepping into it with somebody, can you?
No.
It's really tough.
I did an interview with Marsha Blackburn and Monty Fritz and John Rose, and I don't know, for whatever reason, because I didn't, put the senator in a headlock and punch her in the face, people think I'm supporting her, which is so dumb. I don't even know who. Hey, Brian, who are you going to support? Who are you going to vote for, huh?
I don't ever say that.
I know you don't.
I have a long-standing principle of never getting involved in our Republican primaries.
So in other words,
I'll talk about the issues. I'll talk about what's going on. I've talked to, and I will probably talk today about why in the world couldn't we have a gubernatorial debate that just blows my mind, that we're making a decision without ever having those three people on the Republican side of the equation who are likely to be the next governor sit down and answer a few questions. But we're not going to have that apparently, and I just I'm not afraid to talk about it, but I never talk about who I'm going to vote for or who I don't ever make an endorsement. I don't know why. I just feel like folks are smart enough to figure that out without my guidance.
So who are you going to vote for?
I'm not going to say. I'm simply not going to say.
I'm kidding.
I have not yet voted, and you know what? I'm going to wait a little while. I'm going to wait maybe till Election Day because, I still think that there are issues that have yet to be resolved and things that could still come out.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't like to vote early. I like to wait until we're getting very close to the last bit, or I might do it a day before, but I'm not going to do it right away because I want to see what else is said.
Well, for me, I'm not voting until Election Day. So primaries, I vote on Election Day. General election, I am cool to vote early. So
I think I agree with that. Yeah.
Hey, did you guys happen to see that President Trump is asking all Americans to call Senator John Thune and to ask him to pass the Save America Act?
I love that. And so now we've got people filming themselves actually calling John Thune. It's become a thing on the internet.
Do you want to hear how it goes?
Yeah, go ahead.
I thought maybe we could call. Okay, so I have to hang up with you first of all. And then I'm going to call, and what we'll do is I'm just going to put the phone up to the microphone.
Oh,
hopefully
that's really high tech. That's great.
Yeah, I know it's, but
Brian,
you're lucky, right?
You're lucky. Speaking of high tech, you're lucky you're broadcasting
from calling my office. If you would like to leave me a message, please press 1. If you would like to hear general information about office locations and services, please press 2. If you'd like to speak to a member of my staff, please press 3.
All right, so let's press 1.
Hi, this is Senator John Thune. Please leave a detailed message containing your name, address, and phone number or email address where we can reach you. I appreciate you calling.
Okay, John?
We will get back to you as soon as possible.
Record your message at the tone. When you are finished, hang up or press pound for more options.
John, we all in Tennessee would appreciate it if you would find a spine and
send this message, press pound.
Oh, she's a little pushy.
Okay,
so go ahead. No, go ahead. Keep going.
Oh, find a spine and get the Save America Act passed, would you?
Yeah.
You weasel.
So I added that to my timeline, my X account.
Yeah.
So if you go to Joan Jones WTN, you can find the phone number there to also call.
He's got like 6 phone numbers.
Well, this is so this is a specific one that goes to a recording so that he doesn't have to pick up the phone and listen to you.
So one of the things that I noticed is that other people were able to leave like really long messages, and it cut me off clearly when it realized I was being hostile.
Yeah.
All I was going to do was call him a spineless weasel. Is that?
It was that flock system that had you on voice identification.
Oh, is that what it is?
So the president is asking you to be respectful when you do it.
Oh, okay. Well,
Yeah.
Is calling someone a
Spineless weasel, maybe not.
Yeah, it's probably not what he's asking for.
Fine, whatever.
Disrespectful if it's accurate.
That's exactly right.
Well, the truth is the ultimate defense, they say.
That's exactly right. Okay, so Brian, Sam, and Joan have been trying to get me to do this story all day. And I'm not really familiar with the story. It's about a USA Today writer who is criticizing the basketball player Caitlin Clark and her supporters. And I can't believe a reporter or writer would be this stupid. So, Sam, what is this story?
So, basically, she's coming out and criticizing people being supportive of Caitlin Clark. And then after she was called out for connecting it somehow to Emmett Till's murder in Chicago, she then, her apology was that it was an inartful comparison that required more context than she was able to provide.
So it was a non-apology apology.
Yep.
I didn't say anything wrong. I just was an artful.
So the Fox News doesn't even want to paraphrase it. The part that really got people, verbatim, it shouldn't need reminding this country has an awful history of black people being harmed, even killed, in the name of defending white women. The WNBA's All-Star Game this weekend is in Chicago, Emmett Till's hometown, and a local art gallery is currently hosting an exhibit imagining his life if he hadn't been lynched. While it's incumbent on the WNBA to do more to protect its players, there should also be an expectation on Clark to recognize the wider consequences of her actions.
She's being assaulted on the basketball court.
Okay, so we are being assaulted by this article. Listen to this part of the article. And by the way, they changed it from an article to an opinion piece just to make sure that it fell into the right category. It seems that there is a white nationalist faction to Clark's fandom that is deeply, deeply problematic, made even more so because the WNBA is made up of predominantly of black women, many of them queer. When Clark claims fouls that don't exist, when she goes on profanity-laced tirades at referees, those racists see her as a white woman in need of saving and take matters into their own hands.
Boy, that's
this woman is vile.
It's not even what we're complaining about. We're complaining that she's excessively fouled. I mean, she pointed the scoreboard out to an opponent the other night, and they gave her a technical foul.
I mean, this is Caitlin Clark. Brian, are you aware of the whole Caitlin Clark thing?
I mean, I know she's a tremendous basketball player, and I've seen, the evidence, at least online. I got to tell you, I'm not a huge fan of women's basketball. I don't sit around and look forward to the games or follow it closely, but, I'm generally aware of how good she is, and I've seen a lot of evidence online where she seems to be getting the crap beat out of her everywhere she plays, and that I don't understand why there's not more of a movement to just, it's not fair play. It's really,
well,
if for no other reason, they ought to crack down on folks for that, and they don't seem to be doing it.
No, and the WNBA will tell you the reason why they don't crack down is because they don't want to be seen as playing favorites. Caitlin Clark versus basically some of the black players that are abusing her on the court, assaulting her on the court. Well, by not enforcing these fouls, clearly they are favoring the players that are abusing Caitlin Clark. And so, number one, it has brought a lot of attention to the WNBA, but it's not good attention.
No.
And so, I'll tell you what, do you know who, first of all, USA Today, so this writer is somehow still employed. It seems like that kind of a stretch, because that is a big time stretch.
Well, our own Riley Gaines has commented, I guess last night or this morning, she's urging Caitlin Clark to sue the pants off of USA Today
yes.
and Nancy or more. Because the premise of the article apparently was that Caitlin Clark flops, and that her flopping isn't just annoying, it's becoming dangerous.
Was she flopping when she was knocked to the ground, and then that player
punched her in the throat?
Throat punched her, Brian. I mean, it's
yeah. No, I don't get the same sense, let's say, like I get from watching her play as I would get from watching, any soccer match that we just witnessed.
Right. Yeah. Well,
not that kind of flopping, but
no, not that kind of flopping. By the way, I don't know if this is breaking news or not. Somebody just sent this to me. Huge win for the Tennessee GOP. Federal court rejects ACLU bid to block new 9-0 Republican congressional map.
It's so funny you said that. I just put it in the 9 o'clock news. So,
Okay,
yep.
so that's breaking news.
It actually happened yesterday. I don't know why everybody's not talking about it, though.
We'll call it breaking news just because the host said that it's breaking news.
There you go. Just for you.
See how that works, Brian? Is you got to crack that whip sometimes.
Yeah. You make sure, when I first got into radio years and years ago, I was just a kid and I was working in my hometown. I had a mobile unit. And I love to go out and cover news in my mobile unit with the big whip antenna and the two-way Motorola radio. And I'd get out there, and it was always mobile unit number 3. Brian Wilson reporting for mobile unit number 3. Well, we only really had one mobile unit, but if we called it number 3, it made it sound like we had a bigger news department.
That's what you got to do. And here's the thing about the 3-judge panel. Just to wrap this up, a federal 3-judge panel on Thursday rejected an ACLU-backed effort to block Tennessee's new congressional map, allowing the GOP-favored boundaries to remain in effect for the state's August primary and November general election. So, congratulations to the Republican Party. Yeah. Congratulations to Memphis, who will now have some conservative representation. Because I don't see Justin Pearson winning in that particular race.
But he has AOC speaking for him, Dan.
Boy, he sure does.
In a multitude of accents.
I was going to say, did you hear, Brian, the multitude of accents that AOC packed in her purse, along with that hot sauce?
She, I think a lot of these communists, I think, have sort of a chameleon quality to them, don't they?
Yeah, but the one thing they all have in common is they're repulsive. So there is that. All right, real quick, Brian, what do you got coming up after the news at 9?
Well, I'll be taking that news about what's going on with in Tennessee a step further and saying, well, where are we as we head into the midterms? Where does our thing shaping up? And as you've heard me say on Wilson Wednesdays, it's really interesting that the blue wave that you might expect to have in a midterm election like this one, it just doesn't seem to be developing, and I'd like to go a little further and explore how that might look, and we'll talk about John Thune, and are we ever going to get the Save America Act passed? It's beginning to look like once again we're running into a wall on that. We'll talk about that as well.
No, it's interesting. The Republicans passed it with the National Defense Authorization Act in the House of Representatives, and Thune says he's not even going to bring it up.
Well, so he says he doesn't have 50 votes. So
he doesn't have 50 votes. He also doesn't have the votes to block the filibuster. So
or a spine,
and he has no spine.
or spine, whatever. All right, moving right along. All right, very good. People, by the way, asking where can we get the numbers for John Thune?
Oh,
did you post them?
I posted it on my X account. I can also tell you what the number is right here.
Go.
Can we do that? Okay.
Sure.
So I'm
President Trump did it.
Okay.
We can
ready?
certainly do it.
202-224-2321. So I'll do it again. 202-224-2321.
5337. I'm being criticized because I said something about cracking a whip. My white supremacy is showing. That'd be what that USA Today writer would say. Anyway, got to go. 8:54. Happy Friday. We'll be back, I think, to wrap this up. Coming up next on WTN. Joan, what's coming up after the news at 9?
Iran has responded to a new ceasefire deal with the U.S. We'll tell you what they had to say coming up at 9 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.